It exploded again. The young man scratched his head looking at the charred statistical device in his hand. What is this piece of junk, weren't they saying? That reaching the 10th layer of chi refining allows you to advance to foundation establishment. I'm already at the 9,999th layer. How many times has this happened? Isn't this testing device just a cheap fake? Just then, a knock echoed from outside the closed-door training room. Toli, what in the world are you cultivating? Why did it explode again? Open up, your closed-door training time for today is over. It was the class monitor Lahan. Toli reluctantly went to open the door. The moment the door opened, Lahan immediately went on the offensive. Do you know how many other students in closed-door training have complained to the teachers? Do you have any idea how many times I've had to cover for you this month? Huh, if it weren't for me, your training time would have been revoked after the very first incident. Ugh. Looking at the desolate scene as if it had just been through a bombing, Lahan couldn't help but be shocked. What are you even practicing? The testing equipment exploded. It's exploded 5 times. Tolai sighed and replied, So what stage of cultivation are you at now? Lahan asked while holding a pen ready to jot down the result. On the report. Chi refining. Tolai answered, Chi refining. After all this time, you're still in the chi refining stage. What layer are you on? The 10,000th layer. You're a terrible liar. Even a complete beginner knows that the highest level of chi refining is only the 9th layer. Anything higher is foundation establishment. Lahan laughed out loud and wrote on the report based on her own understanding. Toli chi refining, 9th layer. You know this closed-door training is so we can get into a good university, right? Next month is the combat strength assessment. For the universities, as long as you pass the foundation establishment stage, you can apply to the martial arts universities. The other classes are basically all at foundation establishment already. Besides, while we've been in seclusion, the spiritual energy outside has become several times denser and the number of demon beasts has doubled from last year. The front lines are in extreme danger. According to expert analysis, we might be heading back to the primordial era. And this time it's expected to last at least 50 years. Once we enter the primordial era, the demon beasts will only get more rampant, and their numbers will skyrocket. Relying on the current group of martial artists alone will be difficult to handle. That's why starting with our year, as long as we get into a university, the resources will be doubled compared to before. The university curriculum has also been shortened to 3 years. That's why this application to the martial arts university is so crucial, Lahan said with concern. If there's nothing else, you should head out first, Toli said, feigning indifference. His nonchalant attitude made Lahan furious, and she stormed out. As soon as she left, Toli immediately dropped the act and muttered resentfully, There's only 1 month left. If I still can't reach foundation establishment, I won't even be able to get into a martial arts university. Just then his phone buzzed. It was a message from Lahan. This is the Martial Arts Forum. The teacher said if there's anything you don't understand, you can look it up here. Hoping he would totally access the link and posted a question. Everyone else reaches foundation establishment at the 10th layer. I've reached the 10,000th layer of chi refining, so why haven't I advanced yet? Asking the grandmasters for help. To solve this mystery, the result 10 minutes later, contrary to his expectations, Toli's absolutely explosive trending topic received a grand total of 6 views and 0 replies, making him question his entire existence. Could it be that in the whole world I'm the only one experiencing this? In the chi refining stage, as long as you reach the 10th layer, even a complete novice will automatically advance to foundation establishment. This is an unchangeable law of the cultivation world, so there must be a problem somewhere. I can feel that the spiritual energy in my body is indeed increasing, but it's not stable. It just swirls around my body. Could it be that my body? While Tolai was lost in thought, the school's PA system suddenly announced for all students and teachers to gather at the martial arts training ground in 30 minutes. The students immediately scrambled to the assembly point, and among them was a large chubby student who used his bulky frame to shove other students out of the way, shouting, "Get out of the way for this great one, you useless trash. This great one only needs to use 1/10 of his leg power and you all can't even keep up. You'll have to try a lot harder if you want to get into a martial arts university," he said smugly. As he ran past Tolai, he deliberately blocked his path, forcing Tolai to stop. Well, if it isn't the former #1 student of our grade, Tolai, you still look like a total loser, you know. Tolai wasn't one to back down and replied with a smile. "You're that Chu, something, right? Chu, the idiot?" Hearing this, the chubby youth furiously yelled, "Chu Dao, my name is Chu Dao, you better remember it." Tolai paid his words no mind and continued to ask, "So Chu, the idiot, what do you want from me? Wasn't the beating you got last time enough? Two female students behind them began to gossip. This Chu Dao is always looking for a fight with Talai, and every single time he gets beaten black and blue. Do you think he likes to be abused? Haha. Hearing others say this, Chu Dao trembled with rage. Just then one of Chu Dao's lackeys whispered into his ear, "Some hot gossip, boss I snuck a peek at. Talai's seclusion report. This guy is only at the chi refining stage. I can't believe he's still at the chi refining stage. Let's see how arrogant you can be now." At this thought, Chu Dao's face immediately brightened up and he started mocking. Lie. Who would have thought that the #1 student in our grade would turn into a total loser right before the university entrance exams, not even reaching the foundation establishment stage? Now you can only get stomped on by me, a third-level foundation establishment cultivator. As soon as he said this, the crowd burst into an uproar. Talai is still at the chi refining stage. How is that possible? It looks like Chu Dao is finally going to have his comeback. Everyone knows that a chi refining cultivator can never defeat someone at the foundation establishment stage. You hear that? Someone of a lower level can never beat someone of a higher level. That's just the rule of this world, Chu Dao said, grinning smugly with pure delight. His mind suddenly flashed back to the words that had previously stabbed him like a knife in the heart from his teacher and his crush. Keep trying and maybe in a few years you'll be able to catch up to Talai. I'm sorry, Chu Dao, but I still like Talai more. Chu Dao grabbed Talai by the collar and screamed, "Being underestimated by the teacher, being rejected by the girl I like. It's all because of you that I had to endure all of that." Talai brushed Chu Dao's hand away and said with a smirk, "That's because you're not strong enough. What does that have to do with me?" Hearing this, Chu Dao furiously channeled his spiritual energy and launched an attack at Talai. "Talai, pray you don't meet this great one in your next life." Talai frowned as he watched Chu Dao, thinking to himself, "So this is the power of a third-level foundation establishment cultivator. It's indeed quite strong." At the same time, spiritual energy erupted from his own body, ready to counter. A second later, Chu Dao's fist landed on Talai. But to everyone's surprise, they saw Chu Dao flying backwards, slamming hard into a wall and collapsing to the ground. "It hurts so much." Hearing Chu Dao's cry, his two lackeys snapped out of their daze and rushed over to help him up. Boss, are you okay?" As for Talai, he looked at his own hands in disbelief, thinking, didn't they say a chi refining cultivator can't possibly defeat someone at the foundation establishment stage? So why did I just send that guy flying? Unable to figure it out, he decided not to dwell on it. Talai pulled up his hood and turned to leave. Behind him, several female students blushed as they watched him go, whispering, "So this is the true power of our grade's #1, even at the chi refining stage he can still beat a foundation establishment cultivator." Meanwhile, Chu Dao's two lackeys pointed at Talai and yelled, "Hey, you hit someone and now you're just running away. I'm going to tell the teachers. There are plenty of witnesses here." Talai stopped in his tracks and looked over at the two students, whispering among themselves. Not far away, he asked, "Did you guys see me hit anyone?" The two students flinched for a moment, then quickly reacted, "No way. Didn't Chu Dao go flying on his own? How could someone at the chi refining stage beat a foundation establishment expert? For sure it must be Chu Dao's own fault, a backlash from his power." After that, Su Li continued to walk away, thinking, "I still need to get to the martial arts training ground and meet up first. Maybe I can get an answer from the teacher. If I can't solve this foundation establishment problem, then I can kiss my college entrance exams goodbye." A moment later, Su Li arrived at the martial arts training ground and saw his teacher not far away. Su Li walked over. Sun Huida looked at him with a smile and asked, "Su Li, how was your closed-door cultivation this month?" Su Li scratched his head and said with a laugh, "I ran into a little problem. Let me see the results of your training." As soon as he finished speaking, Sun Huida began to inspect the level of spiritual energy in Su Li's body. A few seconds later, the toupee on his head flew off as if it had grown wings, but he just stood there, stunned, wondering, "Forget me. Even the principal might not have such a solid foundation. But why is he still at the chi refining stage?" Su Li pointed to his own head, his eyes glancing at the bald head of Sun Huida, and said with a grin, "Teacher, I heard the latest spiritual energy hair growth treatment has had a major breakthrough. Your hair, maybe you should try to save it." Annoyed, Sun Huida smacked Su Li in the face with the book in his hand and said worriedly, "You brat, instead of worrying about me, you should be worrying about yourself. I already put in a good word for you with the martial arts university, but now with only 1 month left, trying to break through the chi refining stage is truly impossible. It's really not going to work. The only option is to switch to a different major that doesn't require a cultivation level, but you don't need to worry too much. Things will work out." I'm just a little surprised, but your future can't be thrown away here. Wait until after the oath-taking ceremony is over. They'll start measuring everyone's cultivation realm. Just find some excuse to get out of it. Right now, nobody knows your cultivation level, and you don't need to let everyone know. Su Li was about to say something, but Sun Huaide smiled, placed a hand on his shoulder and said, "Tell me the truth. What level of the qi refining stage are you at now?" Su Li answered honestly, "Level 10,000? Sun Huaide was startled and asked again, "You said how many?" Suddenly a loud explosion rang out, followed by the sound of someone shouting, "Get over here, quick!" Somebody's injured. Hearing this, Sun Huaide immediately rushed over. Su Li quickly followed behind him. When they arrived at the scene, Sun Huaide saw a female teacher seriously injured and unconscious on the ground. He quickly supported her head using his spiritual energy to perform first aid and then spoke, speculating the wound is very severe. It looks like it was caused by someone at the peak of the foundation establishment stage. Just then, someone pointed to the sky and shouted, "Look, the principal is here!" Meanwhile, at the security office by the school's front gate, there were two people in the room on duty. The first guard leaned back in his chair, yawned and said, "I'm so sleepy. I stayed up way too late last night. You keep an eye out for me. I'm gonna catch a quick nap." The second guard reminded him, "Hey, we're on the clock right now, relax." With the third-year Kai Yuan assembly, practically all the strongest cultivators in Infinity City are gathered here. Nothing's gonna happen. The first guard had just finished speaking when 5 unfamiliar faces suddenly appeared in the glass behind him. The second guard saw the 5 people and yelled, "Who are you, students? I've never seen you before. Show me your student IDs." The first guard turned around suspiciously to look outside. A muscular, blonde-haired man grinned menacingly, then shattered the glass door, grabbing a guard's head with one hand. He slammed it hard onto the ground, and in an instant fresh blood spurted out, splashing onto the face of the second guard. The second guard fell to the ground in terror, his whole body trembling as he turned and reached for the walkie-talkie. Thinking, "This is bad, I have to report this right away." But before he could grab the walkie-talkie, the short one among the 5 men took him out with a single rock. Afterwards, the 5 of them swaggered into the school just as the students saw Principal Wu Defa descending from the sky on his sword. They shouted in admiration, "Wow, only those at the Golden Core realm and above can perform sword flight. I really hope I can reach the Golden Core realm soon too." Stepping off his flying sword, Wu Defa saw the female teacher's serious condition, cleared his throat, and told someone to take her for medical treatment. He then loudly announced that the 100-day pre-exam oath ceremony and the realm assessment test would be temporarily postponed. Hearing this, the students immediately began to buzz, "Hey, what's going on? The pre-exam oath ceremony has never been postponed like this since Kainguin High School was founded. Won't this affect our college entrance exams?" Wu Defa continued, "Students, please be quiet. Just now our school received a tip that there are suspected members of the Choc Munan cult operating in our city to ensure everyone's safety. From now on, no one is allowed to leave the school grounds, and don't try to be a hero. Class presidents, lead your classmates but then to the school's safe zone and wait to evacuate in an orderly manner." Hearing the name Choc Munan cult, the students couldn't help but be shocked. The Choc Munan cult. I didn't mishear, did I? Is that the evil cult that will stop at nothing to achieve its goals? That's them. I heard they won't hesitate to slaughter cultivators. That's so scary. Why did they come to Wuji City? Are we in danger? As cries of alarm filled with worry and unease rang out, the students began to evacuate quickly. No one was talking about the oath ceremony or the exams anymore. Su Li was leaving with the crowd when suddenly, Luoxin grabbed his wrist. He stopped suspiciously, turned around and asked, "Luoxin, why are you here?" Luoxin smiled and pulled Su Li in another direction, saying, "Follow me, this is related to your college entrance exam." A few minutes later, Luoxin had led Su Li to a secluded spot. She then said cheerfully, "Su Li, for you, this is a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity." Su Li asked, confused, "What opportunity?" Luoxin took out a huge wanted poster, unfolded it in front of Su Li, and said with a smile, "This is a public bounty mission from Wuji City. The Choc Munan cult's target this time is our school. If you can catch them, the martial arts university will see your abilities and might even make an exception to admit you." Su Li asked, "How did you find out about all this?" Luoxin replied proudly, "My parents are law enforcement officers. They told me and warned me to be careful at school." Then she enthusiastically leaned close to Su Li's ear and whispered, "Don't worry, I'll find a few more people to help you. When the time comes, we'll split the reward." Sepa, and you can also win a chance for special admission to the martial arts university. Isn't that a win-win? This close. Interaction made them both blush a little. Su Li quickly pulled away, tossing the wanted poster behind him while saying, "I'm not going. Have to go back to my dorm," he thought to himself. Someone like me who's only in the chi refinement realm fighting professional assassins. Is no different from having a death wish. Luo Xin stood there petrified and only snapped out of it in a rage after Su Li was long gone. Stomping her foot in anger, she cursed, "My kindness was totally wasted on you. I did that for your own good. Humph, you dense idiot somewhere else on campus." A blonde-haired male student, one of Chu Dao's underlings, found Sun Huide and yelled, Teacher son, it's bad." Sun Huide ran over and asked, "What's with all the panic?" The blonde student quickly said, "Chu Dao got into a fight with Su Li and broke several ribs. He's constantly coughing up blood and looks like he's not going to make it." Sun Huide urgently asked, "Has he been taken for medical treatment yet? Take me to see him." At the same time, he was a bit doubtful, thinking to himself, Su Li is still in the chi refining stage. How could he possibly defeat Chu Dao? The blonde student replied, "Okay." With that, Sun Huide summoned his flying sword, jumped on and grabbed the male student with one hand, then flew off. In a deserted area of the 12th grade male dormitory, 5 members of the Chunshan cult organization, including Umama Jituang, Wang He, Xin Guang, and Liang Yun, were secretly plotting to assassinate Huang Hao, the chief examiner, for this year's college entrance exam within the next 24 hours. At that moment, Uma had his arms wrapped around the necks of Ma Jitiang and Wang He, and said, "Until the right opportunity to strike presents itself, we'll hide out in this dorm building. Those stupid teachers will never find us. This assassination mission is primarily your responsibility. With you two's cultivation levels, even if you encounter 5 or 6 teachers, you can handle them easily. That chief examiner, of course, is nothing to worry about." Then his gaze shifted to Wang He, his arm tightening slightly as he said with a warning tone, "If you let him escape again, like last time, you know the consequences." Releasing his grip, Uma chuckled and ordered, "Move out!" Hearing this, the other 4 members immediately split up and dashed off in different directions. At the same time, Su Li was sitting in his dorm room, happy because his post had received its first comment. "I knew it, my post was bound to go viral." Someone finally replied, he said with a laugh. Su Li checked the comments section. Meng Hui had commented, "Hey fellow student, hello, I'm Meng Hui. The foundational cultivation of a 10,000 layer chi refining stage you mentioned is fundamentally impossible." Su Li replied, "But I really am at the 10,000th layer of chi refining." Meng Hui responded, "First you need to understand that once you reach the 10th layer of the chi refining stage, regardless of whether your body can handle it, the conditions for foundation establishment will form. Assuming you truly reach the 10,000th layer, as you claim, the amount of spiritual energy your body could hold would be, for all intents and purposes, limitless. However, I still suggest you double-check if your testing device is broken, or switch to a comprehensive testing device and measure it again. Stop daydreaming." Su Li was surprised, thinking, "Is this for real? So that means I'm basically a massive spiritual energy battery right now. Doesn't that make me invincible in dorm room 101 of the Martial Arts University?" After replying to Su Li, Meng Hui sat back with a smirk, but a few seconds later furrowed his brow, thinking, "Why did I even bother replying to a post like that? These college entrance exam students are really losing their minds. Whatever, it's not like anyone would believe what I said anyway." As for Su Li, he had turned off his phone and left his room. As he passed by the stairwell, he accidentally ran into Wang He. Seeing Su Li, Wang He was startled and thought, "Weren't we told that during this time the dorm building would be empty? Who is this kid?" Su Li was also surprised, looking at Wang He and thinking, "Who is this guy? Don't think I've ever seen him before. Wearing a uniform like that will get you demerits." When Wang He saw that Su Li only glanced at him before walking on, he breathed a sigh of relief. "Good thing I'm wearing a school uniform, or I would have been recognized." A few seconds later, he changed. His expression changed as he touched the tattoo on his neck. "Crap, I forgot to cover the tattoo." He couldn't have spotted it, could he? Wang He silently panicked. He then glared at Su Li and yelled, "Hey, you little punk, you saw it, didn't you?" Su Li looked at him in confusion, wondering if this guy, thought he was blind. A whole person standing right there. How could he not have seen him? Though suspicious, Su Li still answered, "I saw it." Wang Hai bared his teeth in a vicious grin, thinking, "Well, that settles it. I have no choice but to silence you permanently then." A murderous aura erupted from him as he charged swiftly towards Su Li. Seeing Su Li just standing there frozen in place, he let out a cold snort. So you're just some chi-refining punk. Running into me is your worst nightmare. Su Li was standing still because it was only now that he, had noticed the tattoo on Wang He's neck. It looked strangely familiar. After a moment of deep thought, he finally remembered where he'd seen that tattoo. He'd seen it on the wanted poster Luo Xin had shown him. Jackpot, Su Li thought to himself. At that very moment, Wang He's attack, Baptiste, was right in front of Su Li. Startled back to his senses, he hurriedly dodged to the side, narrowly avoiding the blow. Suddenly, a loud explosion erupted behind him. Su Li turned to look and saw that the ground had been completely torn up, especially the massive hole in the wall far behind him. He was horrified, thinking, this guy's power must be at the peak of the Foundation establishment realm. If that had hit me, I'd be totally done for. Just then Su Li saw Wang He leap into the air behind him, clasping his hands together, preparing to bring them crashing down on his head. I'm toast. I need to channel my defensive chi now. Su Li gritted his teeth, frantically mobilizing the spiritual energy in his body. 100 layers, then 1,000 layers until it reached 10,000 layers. And that was the exact moment when Wang He's attack landed. From the impact, Su Li stood perfectly unharmed without a single scratch while Wang He was sent flying backward. He skidded a long way across the ground before finally stopping. Wang He frowned at Su Li, thinking, is this really just the chi-refining realm? Even the Golden Core realm expert I fought before didn't possess such immense spiritual energy. Then a possibility occurred to him. Su Li had deliberately disguised his cultivation as the chi-refining realm, just to mock him. Enraged Wang, who ripped off his shirt and channeled his spiritual, he used his ultimate move, the Lion Meteor Fist, to attack Su Li, determined to end him in a single strike. Can't dodge this, I have to take it head on. Su Li thought, once again enveloping himself in spiritual energy and assuming a defensive stance. The very instant Wang He's attack made contact with the spiritual energy shield around Su Li's body, the bloodthirsty smile on his face instantly twisted into a look of horror. He suddenly found that he was completely paralyzed. His spiritual energy was seemingly being drained by his opponent. Most importantly, he could sense that the spiritual energy within Su Li's body was like a vast, endless ocean. As for Su Li, he had no idea why Wang He had suddenly frozen mid-attack. But he seized the opportunity, clenching his fist and throwing a punch with all his strength. Taking the full force of Su Li's punch, Wang He's body shot backward like a cannonball, only stopping after smashing through a wall. Why did he just fly off like that? Feeling suspicious, Su Li carefully and cautiously approached the broken wall. He saw that Wang He was seemingly dead. A look of complete bewilderment spread across his face. He paced back and forth, stroking his chin, and thought, this isn't right. How could I possibly defeat someone at the peak of the Foundation establishment realm? Something must be wrong here. Could it be what Senior Meng Hui said, that the spiritual energy in my body is just that massive? Or perhaps it was his bloodline, that his whole body was already in a volatile state during the fight. Or maybe he took some kind of power-up drug beforehand that ultimately led to this, a heart attack. No doubt that must be it. I just got lucky. Having settled on a plausible reason to lie, once again looked towards Wang He. I can't leave this guy here. If his cronies find him, it's all over. I'll hide the body for now and then go find Teacher Tan to discuss a plan. With this in mind, Talai grabbed Wang He by the hair and dragged him away at the same time. The Teacher Tan that Talai was looking for had already flown with the blonde-haired student to the lecture hall where Chu Dao and Tolai had their earlier altercation. In the lecture hall, another one of Chu Dao's underlings, a black-haired student, saw Tan Huai Duke arrive and immediately spoke up. Hello, Teacher Tan. Duke didn't immediately reply to him. He looked in astonishment at Chu Dao, who was slumped against a wall that had a large crack in it, thinking to himself, what level of cultivation could cause such immense destruction? Then Tan Huai Duke took a pill from his pocket. He placed the medicinal pill into Chu Dao's mouth. The pill seemed to be very effective. Chu Dao woke up, clutching his stomach and crying out in pain. Tan Huai Duke placed a hand on Chu Dao's shoulder and asked, tell me what exactly happened. Chu Dao, with a pained expression, spoke up. Teacher Tan, I got into a fight with Tu Lai. I never expected that guy to use a killing blow. By the time I realized it, I was already smashed into the wall. Tan Huai Duke thought to himself, a third-level Foundation establishment practitioner getting sent flying into a wall by someone in the chi refining stage. There's a 4-level gap between them. That should be absolutely impossible. While he was feeling suspicious, the black-haired student spoke up again. Teacher Tan Talai is still in the chi refining stage. How could he possibly defeat Chu Dao? He must have secretly used some kind of spiritual artifact. You have to teach him a proper lesson, sir. The blonde-haired student also nodded repeatedly in agreement. Tan Huai Duke glanced at them and thought to himself, I've taught you for 3 years. Do you think I don't know you? You're the only ones who would use such underhanded tactics. Outwardly, however, he showed no reaction and said, You take Chu Dao to the safe zone. First, I will investigate this matter thoroughly. Hearing this, the black-haired student quickly helped Chu Dao up and left. After walking a short distance, he even gave Chu Dao an OK sign. Chu Dao smirked, his treacherous plan having succeeded. As for the blonde-haired student, he also bowed to Tan Huai Duke and followed his 2 cronies. Just then, a voice came from behind Tan Huai Duke. What happened here? Tan Huai Duke turned around suspiciously and saw a man and a woman in uniform approaching. When he saw the armbands they were wearing, Tan Huai Duke quickly put on a friendly smile and said, It's nothing. Nothing at all. Just a little scuffle between students, the girl reminded him. Teacher Tan, the principal just raised the level of this mission to A rank. The lowest level assassin is at the 9th level of Foundation establishment, and they're carrying lethal weapons. You must be extremely careful. The 2 of them left, leaving Tan Huai Duke standing there frowning and thinking to himself, an A-rank mission. In the last 1 or 2 years, there have been very few A-rank missions. It seems Munan came prepared this time. Not long after Tan Huai Duke went to the surveillance room to review the footage of Chu Dao and Talai's fight. Talai prayed, I hope I never run into this big shot again. Watching the part where Chu Dao was yelling, Tan Huai Duke silently cursed. This Chu Dao guy, I knew he was out causing trouble again. He's ranked 2nd in the school after all. Why doesn't he have any composure? When he saw the scene of Chu Dao attacking Talai, only to be sent flying backward, Tan Huai Duke was stunned. What Talai sent a Foundation establishment, Chu Dao flying using only his own spiritual power. A 3rd level at that. A cross-level challenge. A cross-level challenge is when a sudden explosion of spiritual energy pushes it to a limit point, which then creates an unprecedented aura to instantly defeat a higher level. But these kinds of cross-level events, this kind of level-skipping battle is extremely rare. The cultivation levels from lowest to highest are the Chi Refining Stage, Foundation Establishment Stage, Golden Core Stage, Nascent Soul Stage, and Soul Formation Stage, Void Refinement Stage, Aperture Opening Stage, Body Integration Stage, Mahayana Stage, and Tribulation Transcendence Stage. Turning off the surveillance monitor, Sun Huaide stroked his chin thoughtfully. This kid, Su Li's talent is immeasurable. I still have to find a way to get him into the martial arts university. Just then, Han Guang, like a gecko with a dagger in his mouth, stealthily crawled onto the ceiling above Sun Huaide's head. However, he didn't know that his secret actions were completely exposed by the reflection on the monitor screen. Just as Han Guang dropped down with his dagger intending to stab Sun Huaide from behind, the man suddenly spun around and counterattacked. After a single clash, the dagger shattered and fell to the ground, while Han Guang stumbled backward looking up at Sun Huaide with a fierce grin. I just came to the surveillance room for some intel, but I didn't expect to run into a tough guy. Sun Huaide noticed the tattoo on Han Guang's neck. He frowned and shouted, Choc Munan, you people disguised yourselves as students to infiltrate the school. Han Guang charged towards Sun Huaide laughing. Since I've been discovered, I can't let you live. Sun Huaide seriously assumed a fighting stance. Small vortexes of spiritual chi appeared around him like protective shields. Under his control, these spiritual chi vortexes continuously blocked Han Guang's attacks, causing him to become impatient. You detestable baldy, do you only know how to hide in your shell like a turtle? After cursing, Han Guang threw another powerful punch at Sun Huaide. This time Sun Huaide raised one hand and caught Han's fist. With his other hand, he gathered spiritual chi, formed a palm strike, and thrust it toward Han Guang in this critical situation. With no way to dodge, Han Guang could only gather his chi to resist. Although he saved his life, his body was sent flying backward, slamming hard into the wall and spitting out a mouthful of blood. This baldy is strong. It seems a direct confrontation won't work. He thought to himself. Han Guang pulled 2 black spheres from his pocket and threw them at Sun Huaide. Sun Huaide instinctively created 3 spiritual chi vortexes to protect himself. 1 second later, the 2 small black spheres exploded, creating a large amount of black smoke. Han Guang used this opportunity to escape. Sun Huaide didn't give chase. He knew the most urgent matter now was to report the infiltration of Choc Munan to his superiors. In an empty dormitory room, Ma Ji-xiang and Liang Yen-gui were present. Liang Yen-gui spoke up. Why isn't Wang He back yet? He just went to the restroom and now he's missing. Don't tell me he was discovered and eliminated. Ma Jixiang replied, Wang, Hai is a 9th-level Foundation Establishment Body Cultivator. How could he be defeated so easily? Then he turned to leave, saying, I'll go look for him as soon as he was. Out of the room, Ma Jixiang's expression soured as he grumbled, he just entered the Golden Core stage. What's so great about that? Wang He and I will catch up to you in no time. As Ma Jixiang reached a corner, he froze in horror, his eyes widening. He saw not far ahead Wang He being dragged by the hair by a person in a red hoodie, leaving a long trail of blood on the ground. Wang He. This kid definitely wants to take Wang. His body to claim credit. Doesn't that mean our side will be completely exposed? What should I do? He was able to defeat Wang He alone, so his strength must be formidable. If I rush out now, I'll definitely end up just like Wang He. After a moment of thought, Ma Jixiang pulled a pistol from his jacket. This gun is Choc Munan's most advanced spirit energy weapon that can compress the user's infused spirit energy and then fire it. It allows the user to defeat cultivators with spirit energy several times their own, and its destructive power is immense. Remembering the words of Ma when he was given this gun, Ma Chi-tuang grinned, thinking to himself that with his peak Foundation Establishment spirit energy, the power of this gun would surpass the Golden Core stage and could surely blast that brat into smithereens. After that, Ma Chi-tuang decisively. He aimed the gun at Talai and pulled the trigger. The very moment the bullet was fired, those with high cultivation levels or exceptional talent throughout the school could all sense it. Their expressions changed in unison as they silently wondered about the source of this power. Could it be back in the dormitory? Talai was completely unaware that a bullet was aimed right at his head, flying at him from behind. Seeing this, Ma Chi-tuang broke into an excited grin, but that smile quickly froze on his face because he witnessed with his own eyes the bullet hitting Talai's head, only to ricochet off towards the wall, where it bounced off yet again and embedded itself in the floor, creating a small hole. The only damage Talai sustained was a tiny tear in his hood. What was that? Talai wondered as he pulled down his hood and turned to look. Upon seeing the crack in the floor, he walked over and crouched down, picking up the bullet and asking curiously, where did this piece of metal come from? At that same moment, outside the dormitory, several people had arrived. They included Principal Ngo Duke Fat, a male and female pair in school uniforms, and Tan Huai Duke. These were all the people who had sensed the disturbance when Ma Chi-tuang fired the gun and had rushed over immediately. Ngo Duke Fat spoke up, saying, Teacher Tan, it seems you too notice the spirit energy fluctuation emanating from this place? I suspect a member of Choc Munan is responsible. Tan Huai Duke replied, Yes, I was just attacked by a Choc Munan member over at the lecture hall. Unfortunately, I let him get away. It seems they have infiltrated various parts of the school. Suddenly, Ngo Duke Fat frowned and glanced toward a bush, shouting, Who's there? Come out! The others also turned their heads warily toward the bushes. From behind the bush, Lahan stood up and walked out, smiling sheepishly, and said, Hello, Principal. Hello, Teacher Tan Huai, Duke asked in surprise. Lahan, what are you doing here? Lahan approached them and said, I came to find Talai because I was worried he was in danger. Upon hearing this, Tan Huai Duke's face paled. What you're saying, Talai is in the dormitory. The uniformed girl frowned and spoke up. What should we do now? Talai is surely no match for a member of Choc Munan. Tan Huai Duke said nothing and turned to walk towards the dormitory entrance. Seeing this, Ngo Duke Fat quickly said, Teacher Tan, don't act rashly. The person who used that spirit energy just now must have a cultivation level of at least the Golden Core stage. Tan Huai Duke continued determinedly towards the door of the dormitory and said, But my student is in there, I have to go save him. He worried to himself, thinking that even if Talai could activate his over-leveling ability to defeat Chu Dao when faced with a Golden Core stage expert, he would still face certain death. Seeing that he couldn't be persuaded, Ngo Duke Fat coughed lightly and stepped in front of Tan Huai Duke, raising a hand to stop him, and said as the principal, I cannot stand by and do nothing. Then a weapon materialized in his hand. I will go first and you will follow behind me. Be careful and stay alert to your surroundings. With that said, Ngo Duke Fat headed towards the door of the dormitory. The uniformed pair also drew their weapons and followed him with serious expressions. Inside the dormitory, Talai had spotted Ma Chi-tuang standing not far away. Seeing the gun in his opponent's hand, a flicker of suspicion arose in his mind. He wondered if this was the guy who threw that piece of iron earlier. He's holding a gun. Is he trying to kill me? Across from him was Ma Chi. Tong Sa Toli turned to look at him and was terrified, slapping his trembling legs while screaming internally, Move, move! Just move a little. That's all I need. I have to get out of here. I sneak attacked him before. If he catches me, he'll definitely torture me until I wish I were dead." Seeing no response from his opponent, Tolly frowned unhappily. Who is this guy looking down on? First he throws a piece of iron to provoke me, and now he's slapping his thigh, signaling for me to run away. I should really thank you for that. Thinking this, Tolly clenched the piece of metal in his hand and said, "Maybe I can't beat you, but I will not accept your mockery and provocation." Ma Chi-tuong couldn't even process why Tolly was saying that when he saw Tolly make a new move. "Take this back!" Tolly shouted, channeling spirit energy into the piece of metal in his hand and throwing it forcefully towards Ma Chi-tuong. Tolly's initial plan was simply to use the iron shard to distract Ma Chi-tuong and find an opportunity to defeat him, but he never expected his opponent was already so scared he couldn't move, and just stared blankly as the iron shard pierced through his head. Tolly was completely stunned and said aloud, "That worked. Could it be? I've always had a talent for throwing things and just never realized it before." Then he looked at those two corpses on the ground with a budding headache, sighing to himself, "I hadn't even dealt with one and now there's another. What a hassle." Suddenly, Tolly noticed the gun that had fallen beside Ma Chi-tuong. He ran over, picked it up and smiled. "This thing looks pretty deadly. I'll take it for now, it'll be useful later." He was completely unaware that Liang Yangui was hiding around the corner, spying on him with a venomous gaze. What's this guy's background to take out both Vong Hak and Ma Chi-tuong? A direct confrontation now would be suicide, but failing the mission also means death. But if I launch a sneak attack? After a moment of hesitation, Liang Yangui finally gritted his teeth and began to channel spirit energy into his right arm. But before he could act, a loud shout echoed up from the staircase. "Is there a student upstairs? Answer me." Liang Yangui immediately froze, the spirit energy in his arm dissipating. He thought to himself, "Damn, a Golden Core stage expert is really here. I need to retreat for now." Downstairs, Principal Wu's group of 5 people slowly approached the upper floor, one step at a time. On the floor above, Liang Yangui had already bolted to a higher level via the stairs, while Tolly stood his ground. He hid the gun on his person and looked worriedly at the 2 bodies on the floor. "What do I do? That voice sounds like Principal Wu. If I'm caught here now, I might be mistaken for a member of the Choc Munan gang. That's it. I'll stage the scene before they get here. I have to make it look like they had some internal conflict and then killed each other." With that thought, Tolly quickly dragged Ma Chi-tuong's body next to Vong Hak's corpse and rearranged their positions. Just as Tolly finished, the group from downstairs arrived. Seeing Tolly, Principal Wu exclaimed in surprise, "Tolly? Why is it you? What are you doing?" Tolly laughed and scratched his head. Meanwhile, Liang Yangui had already jumped out of the dormitory building through a window. After landing, he snorted, coldly turned around and placed one hand on the exterior wall of the dorm building. Spatial connection art. At his soft command, the spirit energy in his body rapidly depleted, but in return, he could now spy on everyone inside the dormitory building as an image of another space appeared. In the eyes of Liang Yangui, in this space, a massive monster was brutally tearing its prey apart, and its prey was none other than a human. "Just stay put in this building." With those words, Liang Yangui once again consumed his spiritual energy to connect the 2 spaces. At the same time, in the space containing the massive monster, the beast was enjoying its meal when it suddenly noticed a strange vortex appearing nearby. It curiously approached, using its large crimson eye to peer into the dormitory. Back with Tulai's group in the dorm, Tulai saw Ngo Duke Fat and the others arriving and asked Principal Teacher Tan, Class President, "Why is everyone here?" His heart pounded as he thought to himself, "It's over. They're not here to arrest me as a criminal, are they?" Ngo Duke Fat noticed the 2 corpses in strange positions on the floor and asked, "Tulai, what happened here?" Tulai remained silent. He didn't know how to answer. A few seconds later, Ngo Duke Fat's gaze sharpened and spiritual energy erupted from his body, heading towards Tulai. Seeing this, Tulai cried out in alarm, "Principal, it's a misunderstanding." However, when Ngo Duke Fat's spiritual energy made contact with Tulai, he let out a soft sigh of relief. "So it's the spirit line technique. That scared me to death. I thought the principal was going to attack me," he thought to himself. Tulai stopped resisting, allowing the strands of spiritual energy to probe him. After a few seconds, Ngo Duke Fat retracted the spiritual energy strands. "This kid Tulai is still in the chi refining stage. It seems these 2 died from other causes," he thought. Ngo Duke Fat shifted his focus to the 2 bodies on the ground. He said to Tulai, "You should step aside. This place is very dangerous. Leave the rest to me." Tulai quickly moved aside as Ngo Duke Fat knelt before the 2 corpses. He once again used the spirit line technique. Peak foundation establishment again. Just who could take them both out in one fell swoop? Frowning slightly, Ngo Duke Fat continued to examine the 2 bodies more closely. Their bodies were unmodified but had endured Years of torture and the use of nerve-stimulating drugs. Cause of death, one died from spiritual power backlash, the other from a hidden weapon shot through the head, a fatal blow. The killer must have a cultivation level of at least the golden core stage. It seems this really has nothing to do with Talai, he mused. Ngo Duk Phut pulled back the collar of one of the men and saw a tattoo on his neck. Just as I thought, members of the JCK Munan cult. Let's see if there are any other clues on them. People from JCK Munan wouldn't just show up here for no reason. With this in mind, Ngo Duk Phut stuck his sword to the side, put on gloves and began searching the two bodies. Great tonic pill useless, marrow cleansing pill useless, heavenly spirit pill useless. Talai stood to the side listening. As Ngo Duk Phut listed each type of pill and labeled it useless, he felt a bit helpless and spoke up. Principal, what you're doing isn't very convincing. If they're really useless, why don't you just give them all to me? They might actually be useful for me. Ngo Duk Phut just glanced at Talai before continuing his search. Suddenly, he discovered a small black cube in one man's pocket and took it out to examine. This is a sealed cube. No one but the one who sealed it knows how to open it because its material is extremely tough. Brute force won't even scratch it. Saying that, Ngo Duk Phut handed the sealed cube towards Tan Huai Duk and said, Teacher Tan, take this to the lab later and figure out a way to break it. Tan Huai Duk stepped forward and reached out to take it. However, Ngo Duk Phut fumbled the pass, the sealed cube slipping through Tan Huai Duk's fingers and accidentally bouncing right towards Talai. The moment the sealed cube touched his leg, it unexpectedly shattered into fine powder. Talai stood there completely stunned. Others watched in disbelief, silently screaming that it shattered Sun Huai Day. Secretly speculated, could it be due to the spiritual energy in this kid's body? Suli spoke up awkwardly. Principal, you can't blame me for this, it bumped into me on its own. Inside he was suspicious. He thought to himself, weren't they saying it was hard to open? Why did it break with just a touch? He knelt down and pulled an object from the pile of shards. He smiled and said, Principal, there's a communicator in here. In a flash, the communicator was in Wu Defa's hands. The code on this thing isn't too difficult, it'll be cracked in no time. As he spoke, Wu Defa channeled his spiritual energy and began to decrypt it. Very quickly, the communicator seemed to reactivate. It projected a holographic screen that replayed a video clip. In the video, a masked person spoke after the college entrance exam. Proctor Huang Haobo enters Kaiyuan High School. You are to dispatch 2 people. Go undercover to infiltrate and assassinate him to draw attention. The rest of you will destroy the spirit gathering tower. According to the original plan, this mission must only succeed. Failure is not an option. The video ended there. Wu Defa retracted the communicator. He frowned and said JCK Munan's target was never the exam proctor, but the destruction of the spirit gathering tower. These 2 Jagan assassins were just pawns to divert our attention. Once the spirit gathering tower is destroyed, the 60 Foundation establishment, cultivators in the entire school will decline uncontrollably from losing their spiritual energy source. The spiritual energy stored in the tower will immediately detonate. The destructive force is equivalent to an atomic bomb and will spread throughout all of Infinity City. Their real target, also, is Infinity City. At that moment, Suli raised his hand and said, Principal, I have a question. He wondered if that's true. Shim, then why would such important intelligence be entrusted to 2 disposable pawns? Lahan also agreed, that's right, this information. It could be fake meant to make us panic. Principal Defa replied, regardless of whether this information is real or fake, we must protect the spirit gathering tower. This concerns the safety of the entire city. If anything goes wrong, this generation of cultivators, the best and most talented in the entire country, will be cut short right here. He then yelled, JCK, Munan. Suddenly, completely overwhelming power appeared surrounding the principal. Everyone was astonished. Su Li stared wide-eyed at him, thinking this is the aura of a golden core stage expert. It's so powerful. Then he stuck his hand into his pants pocket and took something out. It was his phone on. It was a notification message failed to send. Please try again. It was then that the principal panicked. Damn it, you've jammed all the signals around here? Seeing this, everyone checked their phones. I don't have a signal either. The other students also panicked. My phone doesn't have one either. Hearing this, the 2 agents also pulled out their phones. But her phone couldn't make a call because she was out of credit. Returning to the overall situation, it was extremely chaotic. What's going on? I have no signal either. The principal then ordered everyone to split up. We need to get this information out of here now. At that moment, Principal Wu Defa ran to a hallway. He turned around in surprise, looking at everyone. Stop, he exclaimed. How can this be? The floor below has completely vanished. Suddenly Su Li stepped forward to speak, but the principal, waved his hand telling him to stop. Don't come any closer. This is definitely JCK Munan's doing. They want to trap us here and cut off all our contact. Anu with the outside world, he told everyone, go find other places and see if there's a way out. As soon as he finished, they hurriedly obeyed the principal's command and ran off. Down that hallway, something was flying towards them. They were some kind of creatures. A monster emerged from the black hole in the hallway on this side, so they ran to another part of the school. Luo Han ran over completely startled. She pointed ahead and announced the corpse was gone. The principal walked over and knelt to examine the scene. He picked up a shard from the ground to inspect it. The dusty ground had no bloodstains. It seems the corpse didn't just disappear. The principal predicted, but rather that we are no longer on the previous floor. Hearing this, Luo Han looked around in confusion. How could that be? But we clearly came back the same way we came. Both Su Li and Luo Han looked confusedly at the principal, who remained silent and deep in thought. Suddenly they were both startled. It was only then that the two of them panicked. Where had the principal and teacher son gone? Seeing the critical situation, Su Li quickly grabbed the class president's hand and pulled her away. She was startled, blushing when she saw Su Li holding her hand. Luo Han shyly lowered her head. What are you? Before Luo Han could finish, Su Li spoke up. The principal and teacher son have vanished. We can't get separated again. From now on, we have to stay right next to each other. Hearing him say that, Luo Han's heart fluttered. Stay right next to each other. Then she replied, okay. The two of them began to walk away holding hands, but a monster appeared behind them. It seemed Su Li had already sensed the approaching danger, while Luo Han was still blinded by the joy of holding hands with the handsome guy. The monster was about to bite her head off, but Luo Han didn't even notice, simply glancing at him with a smile. By now, Su Li was aware of its presence. His expression hardened as the monster was about to chomp down on Luo Han. He turned to intervene. He saved Luo Han from danger just in time. Su Li gritted his teeth and glared at it. The monster, surprised, focused its attention on the two of them. Only then did Luo Han realize the danger she was in. Su Li quickly grabbed her hand, pulling her into a run as he desperately searched for a way to escape. This way, he pulled her into an empty classroom and quickly locked the door behind them. Su Li said, hold it tight, don't let it get in. Luo Han obeyed, and together with Su Li, they started grabbing things to barricade the door. The monster outside banged on the door relentlessly, trying to get in. After a while, the noise stopped. Perhaps the monster had gotten discouraged and given up. Su Li breathed a sigh of relief. All this time, they were still holding hands. Su Li was holding her hand tightly, not letting go. He finally looked over at Luo Han to check on her. We're safe for now. Are you okay? Luo Han, embarrassed and panting from exhaustion, turned her head away to avoid his gaze and replied, I'm okay. Su Li just stood there quietly, looking at Luo Han. Her face grew hot as she turned away, and she suddenly noticed a vent in the ceiling. Just then, the faint eyes of the monster appeared in the shadows. It was right above them, staring down. It had locked onto its targets. The monster reached down from the ventilation duct, lunging for the two who were having a moment. Su Li was startled and looked up, while Luo Han just frowned shyly as she looked up. By now, the monster had broken through the vent cover. It let out a huge roar. Luo Han, terrified, took the chance to hug Su Li tightly. It was then that Su Li pulled out his gear, thinking, I almost forgot. I picked up this piece of equipment earlier. I have no idea what it does, but it's a shot in the dark. And so, Su Li raised the gun and fired it directly at the monster. A bullet shaped like a fireball shot towards its face. When Su Li pulled the trigger, the gun transformed glowing red and surrounded by flames. A single shot from Su Li attacked the monster's left side, blowing a hole straight through its body. Seeing the monster collapse, he was overjoyed. It worked. Luo Han, trembling, hugged him tightly, then looked up and asked, Where did you get this thing, Su Li? Su Li awkwardly explained, Oh, I got it from a member of Ji Munan's crew before you all got here. I just forgot to give it to the principal. Staring at the monster appearing before them, he wondered, But what on earth is this thing? Luo Han looked at it and screamed about its face. It's so disgusting. Then she propped her chin on her hand and began to analyze it. Sharp horns, hands like blades. She thought of something. If I'm not mistaken, this is a sky-piercing horned dragon beast from the front line. It's a type of combat familiar. The sky-piercing horned dragon, and its main traits are an agile body, a head with sharp horns, two hands like sharp blades, and immense destructive power. They are pack creatures that usually gather in large numbers and move together. Su Li was stunned. What, this is a beast from the front line? Luo Han continued her detailed analysis. Furthermore, this is a pack-type beast. If one shows up, she predicted it means there will be 5, 10, or even more, and just, like that the rest of the sky-piercing horned dragons were roaming outside. Inside, Su Li and Luo Han watched through a small piece of glass to see outside. He narrowed his eyes, watching silently. When a beast strays from the pack, we'll find an opportunity for a surprise. Attack. Suddenly, he was startled when he saw Luo Han sitting below, looking completely dejected. She was slumped down and silent. Seeing her like that, Su Li snapped out of it and tried to reassure her. Hey, don't worry too much, the front line. Beasts must have found some way to show up here. If we can just find the source, we might be able to get the dorm back to normal and we can get out of here. Besides, didn't I already take down one of those beasts a minute ago? He pointed to himself confidently. Trust me, I will absolutely not let Choc Munan's plan succeed. Elsewhere, Han, Agoing suddenly let out a huge sneeze, sending snot flying. He wiped his nose, wondering, is someone talking smack about me? At that moment, he was at Kaiyuan High School. Han Guang asked, how is the plan progressing on your end? Ghost Liang Yun just quietly smoked his pipe. Dao. Without saying anything. After a moment of silence, he answered, Wang He and Ma Ji Xiang have already been taken out. Hearing this, Han Guang, who was in the middle of wiping his nose, whipped his head around in shock. Taken out? What happened? Ghost Liang Yen replied. We ran into a lone student in the dorms. Wang He and Ma Ji Xiang got careless for a moment and completely underestimated the opponent's power. Su Li in Ghost. Liang Yan's memory was a figure of immense bravery and a brilliant aura. His power completely overwhelming them all, Ghost Yan thought. I have never seen anyone with such an immense amount of spiritual power. I truly hope I never have to run into him again. Seeing this, Han Guang also frowned, breaking out in a nervous sweat. He then picked up a stone slate engraved with the symbol of the Choc Munan evil cult. This is bad, Han Guang said urgently. We have to report this to Wu Mo. If we don't, this mission will definitely be a failure. Ghost Yan immediately rushed to stop him. Don't report this to Captain Wu Mo. If Captain Wu Mo finds out that we couldn't even handle one student, we'll be toast. Thinking of their furious captain tearing them to shreds. Han Guang trembled and asked, then what do we do? You've seen Captain Wu Mo's methods. It's not like you haven't. If we don't complete the mission, both of us will face a fate worse than death. Just then, Ghost Yan suddenly chuckled a few times. He reassured Han Guang, relax. I've already trapped the most powerful person at Kaiyuan High, the principal and that student inside the dorms. The rest of the mission is guaranteed to go smoothly. As long as we complete our objective, who cares how Wang He and Ma Ji Xiang died? No one was paying attention to Yan Gui. At that moment, he held out his hand and a precious item appeared, a map of this very school. He said smugly, let's continue with our plan. Over at the dorms, the horned dragons were still casually roaming outside, slithering around in search of prey. Inside the room, Su Li was carefully listening to the sounds outside. Deciding it was time, he turned the doorknob and exclaimed, now's the time, move out. He then threw the door open and dashed out. He grabbed the class president's hand and they rushed out, not forgetting to fire a shot at the creatures. He grabbed the class president's hand and they hurriedly ran out simultaneously, remembering to fire a shot at them. The horned dragon was stunned, not understanding what was happening before it could even react. Then it was hit by Su Li's firepower and logged out. At this point, a strategic map of the dormitory appeared. On the 8th floor of the dorm were the homeroom teacher Sun Huaida and the principal Wu Defa. Down on the 2nd floor of the dorm were Su Li and the class president Luo Xin. A short distance away was a teleportation portal. The homeroom teacher, worried, said, this is strange. We've been gone all day and still can't pinpoint our current location. The principal replied, regardless, we must find Su Li and Luo Xin quickly. We can't let them be in danger. Wu Defa pushed the door open and said, with their current strength, they still can't fight back against. Before he could finish his sentence, as he cracked the door open, they saw a horrifying sight behind them. Monsters had been waiting for the two of them behind the door. The principal, the homeroom teacher, and the monsters stared each other down, and the two men prepared themselves to fight. The monsters swarmed in, attacking the teachers. A protective barrier was instantly created. The principal said, teacher son, I'll deal with the one in front. You hold back the other one. The homeroom teacher replied, got it, principal. The principal, radiating a murderous aura, glared at them and concentrated power into his fist. Just as the monster opened its mouth and charged, the principal struck it with that same fist, shouting, "Go meet your maker!" The monster was hit so hard its jaw was knocked sideways, and unable to withstand the blow, it collapsed to the ground. Meanwhile, the homeroom teacher simply crossed his arms and summoned chains that tightly bound the other beast. He had unleashed his ultimate move. Wudafa continued to walk forward as the monster watched in astonishment. He approached Teacher Huaide and said, "It's been a long time since we've been able to stretch our legs like this at school." Meanwhile, Suli also raised his gun, aiming and firing back instinctively, replying in kind, "That's right." At that moment, in another corner of the dormitory, a young boy was trembling and backing away a wall behind him. The boy gritted his teeth in fear and cried out, "Don't!" He then swung a baseball bat wildly in front of him. "Don't come any closer or I won't be merciful." The horned dragon paid him no mind and attacked the boy with its claws. Seeing no escape, the trembling boy held the bat forward, turned his face away, and screamed. At that moment, the creature's claws shattered his bat into 3 pieces. In the end, only the boy remained. Seeing this, he squeezed his eyes shut and screamed at the top of his lungs, "Somebody save me!" Suddenly, the monster's shadow retreated. The boy's body was still completely unharmed. Then a voice rang out, "Get up! You're safe now." Hearing this, the boy tremblingly opened his eyes. It was Suli and Luoxin who had arrived just in time to save him. She extended a hand and asked, "Are you okay?" Seeing his saviors, the boy cried even harder, "So you were here too. Thank you for saving me." Suli, surprised, scratched his head and asked, "Huh, you know me," the boy explained, "from the opening ceremony before. The senior who was the student representative giving a speech has been my role model ever since." Hearing this, he just grunted and asked, "But why are you still in the dorms? Didn't the school announce for all students to gather in the safe zone?" The little boy replied, "I overslept. I was just about to head to the assembly when I unexpectedly ran into a monster." Seeing this, Talai offered, "All right then, in a bit you stick close to us and don't fall behind." Following the advice of his 2 seniors, the little boy stuck close to him and Lahan. Talai then peeked his head out of a hole in the hallway floor. Talai and Lahan were focused on observing while the little boy behind them stared out dumbfounded with his mouth agape. A hole had been created in the middle of the dorm and the sky-horned dragon monsters were sleeping peacefully. Talai volunteered and stepped forward. "You two wait here. I'll go ahead and check things out. If there's danger, run immediately and don't wait for me." Then he handed Lahan the gun that had protected him and her earlier. "Here, take this. If you run into danger, use it to defend yourself." She took it and replied, "Okay, you have to be care. Jimaful. Lahan warned you absolutely have to stay safe." Just then, Talai quietly approached the hole, thinking to himself, "You guys just sleep tight. Don't you dare wake up suddenly." Then he reached out to touch the gate. It seems this portal is the very But son, the skyhorned dragons appeared in the dorm building. "If I can just destroy this entrance, everything will return to normal." At that time meant Talai was startled, his eyes widening in shock as one of the monster's claws appeared. He quickly leaped out of the way of danger. Just then its fist slammed down onto the floor, causing the ground to shake and shatter into pieces. Talai frowned and gritted down his teeth as he stared at it. The monster now faced its maw full of sharp teeth gaping wide. The class president and the little boy behind them were frightened beyond words. Talai quickly retreated, but surprisingly the other sky-horned dragons didn't wake up. He looked at the monster and thought to himself, "It seems this portal doesn't transmit sound. In that case, I don't have to be stealthy anymore. I have to be quick. Otherwise it will be a huge problem if all the demonic beasts inside the portal wake up." At this moment, Talai focused his power into his hand. An aura of energy enveloped his fist. At the same time, the monster, brimming with bloodlust, also lunged toward him. Talai landed a powerful punch on it. Suddenly, Talai was taken aback, wondering what's happening. Why did my spiritual power disappear the moment it made contact with it? Just then, the monster swatted its arm, sending Talai flying hard into the back wall. The little boy trembled like a leaf, so scared his soul nearly left his body, while Lahan covered her mouth in shock, thinking, "What do I do? It looks like Talai is a match for that demonic beast." He had just been slammed hard into the wall. Seeing the situation, Lahan tried to calm herself at a time. "Ashatsi, like this I have to stay calm. You're the only one who can help him. Don't panic, over." Abe here. Talai coughed up blood as he analyzed the situation. This red-haired monster is completely different from the others before. Its outer shell alone That couldn't be broken by spiritual power. My attack just now was like merely scratching an itch for it. Suddenly from behind, Talila Han and made her move. She raised the gun he gave her and began firing to support him. She fired 3 shots at it, but it didn't even flinch. The monster noticed and immediately glanced toward Lahan. She was shocked how could this be? It had absolutely no effect. Acetone. Lai shouted from a distance, warning Lahan to run now. Before he could finish, the monster slithered towards her. Lahan backed away while firing at it. In desperation. No, stay away. Just then, Talai had no choice but to grab onto its leg to hold it back. It was just in the nick of time. Another moment and the monster would have snapped Lahan's head off. For the second time that day, its sharp teeth stopped just a few inches from Lahan. Talai from behind him, struggling to pull the monster back, he spoke up. Your opponent is me. You're pretty good at running away from a fight. Behind him, Toli was brimming with power, his will flaring as he glared at it. Then Toli used all his strength to grab its leg, preparing to throw it away. Let me send you on a one-way ticket back home for me. With that, he threw it far up into the sky. The monster was sent flying straight into the portal, causing the other monsters to jolt awake, as if from an alarm. The awakened heavenly horned dragons slithered towards the gate. Toli then unleashed the power in his hand. He jumped up and threw a powerful punch at the portal. You guys just stay put. As he struck it, a crack appeared. It shattered with a crackling sound, gradually spreading across the void, which then began to shrink. Toli didn't forget to say goodbye to the redhead. Enraged on the other side, it swiped its claws at him as he taunted it further. Actually, it's farewell forever. Just as the monster lunged forward, the portal closed. It roared in helpless rage. Screaming from the other side of that world at this moment at the stadium, the sky was clear and the weather was absolutely ideal. Someone was up high, placing something down with a thud. It was Liang Yangui. He set down some kind of device. In a moment, I'll let you all witness its power. Suddenly a voice called out, Hey, what class are you in? Yangui turned his head and glanced over. Remaining silent, it was Professor Cheng Feng along with Professor Cheng Lu. All the students have already moved to the safe zone. Didn't you hear the announcement? What are you doing here? Liang Yangui turned, his face filled with killing intent. What a hassle, I didn't plan on making a move. Couldn't you have waited until I was finished? Just then the two of them were startled when they saw the tattoo on Yangui's neck. Professor Cheng Feng was shocked. He alerted Cheng Lu. He's one of Choc Munan's people. Go inform the other teachers. Quickly hearing this, Cheng Feng immediately pulled something out of his pocket. At that moment, without waiting for them to react, Yangui attacked them. He spoke as he unleashed his technique, Black Flame Ha 2 against 1, and you still want to call for backup. It seems the teachers of Kaiyuan High are only this good. Pathetic. Through high-speed punches, he used his spiritual energy to warp space, creating energy fluctuations. Then he rushed towards the two of them. You two little Foundation establishment stage brats die. Cheng Lu and Cheng Feng were already in a ready stance for battle. Energy appeared on their arms, intertwining with each other. Both arms simultaneously reached back as Cheng Lu and Cheng Feng spoke and attacked. At the same time, take this. Yangui looked at the blue light, stunned into silence. He secretly guessed a co-cultivation physique. A co-cultivation physique is a special type of cultivation body that allows two people to merge their spiritual energy in battle. Merging their power into one for a short period grants them immense strength. Yangui, unable to resist, immediately retreated backward. Damn it, using the spatial connection technique earlier consumed too much spiritual energy, plus that black flame attack just now. I don't have much spiritual energy left to use. Even though he was exhausted, it's not like they would just let him go. The two teachers charged out from the thick smoke. Yangui hastily got up to dodge the blow, while Cheng Lu and Cheng Feng were coordinating perfectly, attacking him. Cheng Lu landed a kick on Yangui, while from a distance, Cheng Feng rushed in to attack 1 against 2. Yangui could only block with his hands. Meanwhile, the two teachers continued their relentless assault. Suddenly, Cheng Feng placed his hand on Cheng Lu's shoulder, which surprised Yangui. He used Cheng Lu's shoulder as a springboard to deliver a kick to Yangui. He thought to himself, this is bad. At this moment, the two of them remained serious, silently attacking. A powerful punch was being prepared by Cheng, his reserves running low. Yangui thought he couldn't hold on much longer. Right then, he watched helplessly as Cheng Lu's fist closed in. Suddenly, Wuma appeared, imposingly blocking the two of them. Yangui stared in shock while Wuma just stood there and gave them a cold glance. Cheng Feng exclaimed in surprise. Another one. Cheng Lu didn't care and continued his attack. What's there to be scared of? We'll just fight one more guy. Just then, Wuma let out a tisk. As he finished speaking, his killing intent flared up and Powerful hand shot out towards Chenglu. In that instant, Chenglu was struck and split in two. Seeing this, the man rushed over, shouting Chenglu, fueled by rage. Chengfeng unleashed his power, growling as he charged Wu Ma. "I'll take you down with me." Wu Ma lifted his leg. "You want to die?" He sent a kick straight through Chengfeng's stomach. Chengfeng was stunned and coughed up blood. Yan Gui, who witnessed everything, could only exclaim, Captain Wu Ma, he's Captain Wu Ma." A peak golden core stage. Expert. The captain of the JCK Munan squad. Meanwhile, at Kaiyuan High School in the dormitory, I was lying exhausted on the floor. I had finally recovered. I looked at my phone in surprise. That strange spiritual energy flow is gone. But your phone. Balance is currently insufficient to use normal network services. The signal is back to normal, the principal. Picked up his phone thinking I've been trapped here for so long, I wonder how far JCK Munan's plan has progressed. I must quickly summon all the teachers to the Spirit Gathering Tower to stand guard. He ordered an announcement for all teachers to immediately report to the Spirit Gathering Tower. Teacher Sun Huide heard the order and replied, "Yes, sir." At that moment at the Spirit Gathering Tower, people arrived on flying swords as ordered and formed a circle around special grade teacher Lu Chengqi. He then spoke up. "I'm sure everyone received the principal's notice. We must guard the Spirit Gathering Tower and keep it safe." Teacher Yuan Zhen heard this and replied, "Understood. If anyone from JCK Munan dares to show up, we'll make sure they never leave." Lu Chengqi glanced at Miss Chen and asked, "Have you contacted the other teachers yet?" A worried Miss Chen Ying replied, "Teacher Sun is with the principal. 2 others are still patrolling the school grounds. We've lost contact with the remaining 2. The scene shifts back to Captain Wu Ma. He was choking Yan Gui, scolding him. "You useless trash, getting beaten down by 2 Foundation establishment stage guys. You've really disgraced JCK Munan." He struggled to beg. "Mercy, Captain Wu Ma, please let me explain." Yan Gui gasped out each word. "If it weren't for that student who suddenly killed Wang He and Ma Jiqiang Wawai, I would have completed the mission long ago." Wu Ma lifted Yan Gui higher. A Qi refining stage kid killed both Wang He and Ma Jiqiang, who were at the peak Foundation establishment stage. "You think I'd believe that?" Yan Gui gasped for air, drool trickling from his mouth. He then begged Captain Wu Ma, "Please give me one more chance." He tremblingly held up a remote control and said, "The bombs are planted, only the Spirit Gathering Tower is left." Wu Ma looked at him and smiled. "I guess you're still useful after all." And then the captain snatched the remote from Yan Gui's hand and then let him go. Wu Ma opened the control panel and said, "All right then, the final Spirit Gathering Tower is your responsibility. Go and atone for your failure." He then looked at the map of the bomb locations at the school and smiled without a word. Then he placed a hand on Yan Gui's shoulder, smiling brightly, much to Yan Gui's confusion. Suddenly, Wu Ma's face filled with killing intent, his eyes wide and terrifying as he threatened, "Even if you die, you must plant that final bomb and complete JCK Munan's mission, do you understand?" Yan Gui trembled and replied, No problem." But Captain Wu Ma just smiled. With a cunning move, his hand filled with killing intent was placed behind the ghost's saddle. After everything was settled, he was safely back at the boys' dormitory of Kai Nguyen High School. Talai stood in front of the dormitory, saw the teachers, and immediately exclaimed, "Principal, sir." Teacher Tan saw Talai was all alone. They walked over to ask, "Talai, why are you by yourself? Where is La Han?" Talai explained, "We were in the dormitory and found a remaining student. La Han took them to the safe zone first and left me here to report the situation to the principal." He asked worriedly, "What on earth happened in the dormitory just now? Are you two okay?" Talai then reassured the teachers, replying, "We're fine. It's just that a moment ago we were downstairs in the dormitory and discovered a teleportation gate. After we destroyed it, the entire dormitory returned to normal." Hearing Talai say this, he immediately recalled that when he opened the door, it was full of monsters. "A teleportation gate, you say? It seems someone used a spatial link technique. No wonder demonic beasts appeared in the dormitory." At the front line, the principal then summoned a sword and mounted it. "Talai, you handled things very well today. This is an emergency. Teacher Tan and I must go to the tower to gather spiritual energy." Hearing this, Talai said goodbye to them and hurried off. He quickly headed to the safe zone himself. "I absolutely have to be careful." He was only thinking, "It's very dangerous outside right now. I must get to the safe zone quickly to save my own life. I really don't want to run into anyone from Choc Munan again." Suddenly, Ham Kwang was sniffing the air. He sniffed a Qi refinement stage student. He has the scent of Wang Hach on him. Looking down from above, he saw Tu Lai. He thought to himself, Could it be that he's the one who killed Vuong Hach? After figuring it out, Han Kuang leaped from above. He jumped down right behind Talai, startling him. Talai turned to ask who's there just as Ham Kuang pointed at him and asked Kid, "Why do you have the scent of Vuong Hach's spiritual energy on you?" Hearing this, Talai was taken aback. He realized the scent of spiritual energy. Is this guy part dog or something? How can he even do that? And also, who is Vuong Hach? Who are they? After speaking, Ham Kuang clasped his hands together. He unleashed a burst of power. Vuong Hach and Ma Tri Tuong. "We're just too careless to die at your hands. I won't show you any mercy." Ham Kuang unleashed his move. "Anyone who dares to ruin our plans must die." But unlike others, Talai just calmly asked, "Are you from Choc Munan?" Despite the immense power, spreading out flames now surrounded Talai. Standing inside, he worried, "This is bad. I can't see anything at all. This isn't fog but tiny particles externalized by spiritual energy. It seems I'm trapped. I basically can't even move." Looking at Ham Kuang in front of him, he thought everyone's spiritual energy has a unique scent. It's related to their cultivation method and habits. Vuong Hach specialized in body cultivation, so his spiritual energy was tainted with the smell of sweat. Ham Kuang smirked, recalling how he used to criticize Vuong Hach, "You stink." You know that he snorted. Then Ham Kuang took a deep breath to search for Talai. He finally found his target. "Got you?" Then an attack flew towards Talai. He was injured and cursed angrily. "Damn it!" Talai clutched his head, wondering how he could be seen. Meanwhile, Ham Kuang smiled smugly. He then came to attack Talai again with a punch. That punch sent Talai flying backward. Talai felt this was bad. If I just passively take these hits, it's not a viable strategy. Suddenly, a flower petal landed on Su Li's hand. Wait a minute. Just now he mentioned the scent of spirit energy. Could it be that he tracks it by smell? Finally, Su Li figured out a plan. If I remember correctly, the vast majority of the campus is planted with osmanthus trees, and right now is their blooming season. Su Li smiled, wiped the streak of blood from his mouth, and uttered, "Yeah." Then he unleashed his technique, commanding, "Absorb it for me." Everything was sucked into Su Li's power, including the osmanthus blossoms, full of killing intent. Su Li confidently said, "This time let's see how you track me by smell now." Han Guang saw this and thought with concern, "Oh no. The scent has been completely masked by the fragrance of the osmanthus flowers." Su Li on the other side, Shang, prepared to unleash his move. "I'll see how you." The wind around him whipped up, sending the flowers flying. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. He unleashed his power and asked, "How are you going to dodge this?" Han Guang, however, was still unafraid and retorted, "A mere student. What makes you qualified to defeat me?" Suddenly something flew towards Han Guang, shattering his protective barrier. Su Li had activated his spirit energy shield technique, leaving Han Guang completely defenseless. His body was riddled with wounds from the attack. Then Han Guang's aura of power began to disappear as he lay. Ka collapsed on the ground. He couldn't believe it, thinking to himself, am I really going to die like this? Turns out even osmanthus flowers can be used as weapons. Su Li walked over to him and thought, let's see if he has anything good on him. It's a good thing the principal isn't here right now. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't get a cut of the loot. At that moment, Su Li pulled some kind of signaling device from Han Guang's body. He wondered, what is this? Su Li stared at the badge, confused. Then he pressed a button. The badge began to radiate power as he watched it gleefully, thinking, it's activating. A city appeared before his eyes. Is this a spirit energy gathering tower? Su Li noticed. That a target had been locked on. He wondered, what is this moving gold dot? Meanwhile, the scene shifts elsewhere to Yan Kai, who was in a strange place. He was surprised. Yan Gui wondered, why are there suddenly so many professors on patrol? He smugly covered his mouth and chuckled. It turns out he'd spotted Professor Chen Ying Yan. Gui wondered to himself, why is there a student here too? Could it be and that the safe zone has been attacked? Just then she called out. Student Yan Gui pretended to be in pain, crying out, "Ugh, it hurts so much." Professor Chen Ying quickly ran over to ask, "Are you in some kind of trouble?" Just then, Yan Gui pulled out a gun from his pocket. At that moment, Chen Ying was startled and looked up. He was already pointing the gun at her. Yan Gui smiled menacingly. Ha ha! Then he shot Chen Ying point blank with one shot. She barely had time to cry out before passing out. Yan Gui was thrilled, thinking, this move really is Not bad at all. Looking at her bullet wound, he dipped his fingers into it, smearing the blood on his face with a terrifying glint in his eyes. Let's see who the next unlucky, worthless professor will be. As Yangui was gloating, he turned to look in another direction. Next, he leaped away to another location. Cut to the principal. He was looking at his phone, wondering, something is, not right. He felt a sense of unease. Ever since this began, 3 of the teachers haven't replied to his messages. Meanwhile, up above, Yangui was licking the blood of Chen Ying, whom he had just taken down. Then he let out a growl. This guy Yangui was still pulling his same old tricks. He smeared more bloods on his face, pretending to be gravely injured, and cried out, "Help! Help me!" At that moment, the principal looked at Yangui with some suspicion. All the students should have evacuated by now. Why is there still one here? He then walked towards Yangui. "Student, what happened?" Wu Difa thought to himself, "It's a trap." As the principal approached, realizing he had been exposed, Gui pulled a gun from his bag. Everything was now clear. The principal glared at him as he drew the gun, and Duke was shot at, and seeing the bullet fly towards him, he immediately created a protective barrier, realizing it was a trap set by the people from JCK. Even though Mungan had created a protective barrier, that bullet still flew right through, shattering the connection and easily breaking through. Seeing that the defense of his spiritual energy shield wouldn't hold, he instinctively dodged the attack and then teleported. He appeared behind Smoke Devil, catching him off guard and making him drop his defenses. Smoke Devil could only curse under his breath. Holy smokes! Smoke billowed everywhere and a coughing sound rang out. It seems he'd run into a tough nut to crack. Smoke Devil pulled out a long pipe from his coat. He lifted it to his mouth, thinking, I can't believe Kain Guin Hai has a teacher who isn't a complete pushover. A true hero knows when to accept a temporary loss. Consider yourself lucky this time. Smoke Devil's cheeks suddenly puffed out and he exhaled a gas-like substance. It was like a fog, but a deep dark purple. But there was no escaping from the grasp of Kain Guin Hai. Smoke Devil felt a sense of dread. He grunted, "Humph!" A chain appeared. Binding chains. 3 chains shot out, rushing towards Smoke Devil before he could even react. Just then, Ms. Lu Thua appeared and bound him. Restrained, Smoke Devil exclaimed, "I've seen a ghost. What in the world is this devilry, Professor?" Special grade Professor Lu Thua grabbed the chain and pulled, asking him trying to run. Then Lu Thua yanked the chain from behind and he was dragged back in alarm. He cried out, "This is bad!" She leaped forward shouting, "I finally got you, you scumbag!" She charged in and delivered a swift kick, to his left cheek. Then she leaped up and dropped down from above in an attack. Lu Thua dove down, kicking Smoke Devil right in the head. She glared daggers at him. Smoke Devil, even after being kicked in the head, still managed to pull out a gun. He gritted his teeth and muttered, "Damn you," but Lu Thua didn't care. She kicked it, driving it deep into the ground. Smoke Devil instinctively let go of the gun and cried out in pain. Lu Thua was filled with a murderous, angry aura. "I have to get revenge for Ms. Tran Din." The principal spoke up from behind Ms. Lu. He is the only member of JCK Munan we've managed to capture so far. We need to focus on the bigger picture. Although she was furious, there was nothing she could do. Lu Thua grabbed him by the collar while Smoke Devil trembled in fear. And then the principal picked up the gun and said, "The power of this firearm is immense. So great that even my own spiritual energy couldn't stop it. Who knows how many of these other JCK Munan members have on them? Or other powerful weapons. Once a full-blown fight breaks out with our faculty, the consequences will be unimaginable." A sound beeped, receiving a transmission on the professor's private line. He then quickly announced, "Attention all personnel, members of JCK Munan have disguised themselves as students. Everyone who gathered at the Spirit Gathering Tower must be investigated thoroughly. Everyone must be extremely careful. They may possess weapons capable of taking out our cultivators." The principal ordered, "Bring him to the martial arts training grounds. I want to interrogate him personally." Following his command, Lu Thua activated the chain. It flew swiftly and coiled around her arm. Elsewhere at the gymnasium, Talai was there. Why is this blue dot getting brighter and brighter? Could it be that the JCK Munan members hid their treasure here? Talai excitedly began searching every nook and cranny around. Suddenly, Talai's face went pale when she heard a beeping sound. Holy crap, isn't this an explosive device? Scene change. The scene shifts to the classroom. This teacher is Tu Huai Duke. He might look like it, but he isn't actually completely bald yet. He gathered the students. And announced, "Class, today we're going to learn a little bit about the structure of an explosive device. To Lai, please come up to the podium. You will, Shima, demonstrate for everyone. He stepped forward and replied, yes, sir. To Huai Duke instructed when diffusing the wires you absolutely must sever or is to disconnect the hot wire. Then the neutral wire, never disconnect the neutral wire. First, the teacher had instructed this before. If the neutral wire is disconnected before the hot one, Tolly followed along looking puzzled. What would happen? He wondered mischievously. He snipped the neutral wire, showed it to the teacher and said, I just accidentally cut one. The teacher saw this and hastily yelled out, the neutral wire will carry a fatal voltage causing an explosion. Everyone get down fast. A deafening explosion engulfed the classroom. The teacher angrily called out Tolly's name, remembering that lesson. Tolly became anxious. I have to disarm this before Choc Munan gets here. But which one is the hot wire? Tolly opened the explosives casing and fumbled around. I guess I'll just have to trust Balditan this one time. Right then, the bomb signal was active on the map, but a few seconds later it began to fade. Captain Oma saw this and was shocked. Ham Kwang, what is this guy doing? Why did the detonation point go dark after a few tense seconds? Tolly had done it. He successfully disarmed the bomb and breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, it's done. He took out Choc Munan's seal and said, let's double check. A map opened up 55 meters away, and approaching Tolly thought to himself, someone's coming. I'm running out of time. He quickly dove into a nearby bush and started chanting, you can't see me, you can't see me. Captain Oma arrived. He ran over to the spot where the bomb had been and angrily scanned the area still hiding. Could it be that person wasn't Ham Kwang? Oma wondered. He bent down and saw a remnant of the disarmed bomb, and on top of that, Tolly's feet were sticking out. He roared angrily, get out here! What kind of coward hides like that? Oma glared menacingly at Tolly hiding in the bush. You're not planning on coming out, are you? Then don't blame me for what happens next. A massive surge of power gathered in Oma's hand. He charged at Tolly, aiming to destroy him. Oma unleashed a palm strike in Tolly's direction, whose eyes flew open in shock. What powerful, killing intent. A massive explosion erupted on the spot. Tolly had just jumped back with a whoosh. If I had been even a second slower, I would have been blown to bits like those trees. Oma stepped forward and asked, who are you, kid? Where did you get that token? Tolly held out the red seal on his hand and replied, you mean this token? I just found it. If you know the owner, you can help me return it to them. Oma angrily gritted his teeth, thinking Choc Munan's tokens are exclusive to each person. They only get one. If the token is here, the person is alive. If the token is lost, the person is dead. Oma spoke up. You still dare to play dumb with me? Oma frowned, saying nothing more while Tolly was stunned. Just then, Oma teleported right next to Tolly and attacked him. Tolly dodged the blow and mentally assessed his speed and power. His strikes are on a completely different level from the others I've faced. Could it be he has already ascended to the golden core stage? Oma glanced at Tolly. This brat is only at the chi refining stage. How could Ham Kwang possibly lose to him? What a useless piece of trash. After this thought, he stomped the ground, which cracked under the force. Then Oma channeled all his anger into his next attack. That was just the warm-up. Now the real fight begins. Tolly watched in shock as the attack flew toward him. Captain Oma spun and kicked Tolly, forcing him to shut his eyes and brace for impact. The blow sent him flying straight into a distant tree. Tolly coughed violently from his injuries. He trembled in pain. It feels like every bone in my body is broken. Oma walked over and asked scornfully, is this all you've got? Then he punched Tolly in the gut again. But I guess that's to be expected since you're only at the chi refining stage. He then laughed maniacally as he landed several critical hits on Tolly. How does this feel? Do you like it? He laughed maniacally, and behind that laughter were bloody blows. But this brat's bones are pretty tough. My hands are getting sore from hitting him, but man, it feels so good. Ha ha! After beating Su Li, he took back the command token from the boy's hand. Wu Ma took it and said, wasting time on this kid. I wonder how things are going with Liang Yangui. We can't afford any mistakes. Suddenly, Su Li regained consciousness. He gripped a rock in his hand. Captain Wu Ma noticed the movement and turned back. Still alive. This kid sure can take a beating. I pushed all my strength into my hand and spoke. You think you can just beat someone up and act like nothing happened, and then just walk away from here? Su Li held the rock. A student from Kaiyuan High isn't so easy to bully. Wu Ma laughed. You really think you can take me on with that little rock? Wu Ma raised a single finger condescendingly and said, are you playing house or something? Su Li didn't care. He threw the rock at him. Wu Ma easily caught the rock. Seizing the opportunity, Su Li charged forward. Now's my chance. Wu Ma didn't understand what was happening. He looked around cautiously. Su Li had already circled behind Wu Ma without him even noticing. It was a misdirection and counterattack. This is getting interesting. Then he grabbed Wu Ma. Gotcha! Su Li tackled him, slamming Wu Ma to the ground. The impact shook the very earth, kicking up a cloud of dust. Wu Ma laughed loudly as his body began to transform. Su Li wiped a streak of blood from his mouth. He smirked, unleashing his power. It's been a while since I've met an opponent who can fight this well. Kid, I'll give you that. And so Wu Ma unleashed his power as Su Li focused his own into his right arm. The scene shifts to the training ground. They are interrogating Liang Yangui. Next question, and you'd better answer honestly. What was your objective for infiltrating Kaiyuan High? What was it in the end? Liang Yangui, his face bruised and battered, replied fearlessly. It's fine, I'll tell you. After all, our plan is already complete. In a few minutes, all of Kaiyuan High will be blown to bits. The principal thought in shock. An explosion. Could it be the spirit gathering tower? Liang Yangui laughed with glee. With a few of you teachers to accompany me on the road to hell. I won't be lonely. I'll show you just how powerful the Munan organization is. Hearing this, the three of them rushed forward. They ganged up on Liang Yangui. Get your head straight, you're the prisoner here, he cried out. A moment later, the principal checked on the spirit gathering tower. What's the situation now? Yuan Zhen wiped his sweat. Panting heavily, he replied, I just had the teachers from the patrol team conduct a sweep of the spirit gathering tower. They've confirmed there are no immediate threats. Hearing this, the principal cleaned his glasses and said, if that's the case, the only way for the school to explode is if explosives were planted around the perimeter. He grabbed the man's collar and demanded, where did you plant the explosives? Where is the detonator switch? If you want to live, talk now. Liang Yangui remained defiant. Something that important. You think I'd let you find it so easily if you plan on wasting the final moments of your lives? On me, I'd be happy to oblige. Just then, an immense power suddenly appeared, causing the two of them to freeze. They stood stunned. This is the power of a golden core master at that moment in the safe zone of Kaiyuan High. The students receiving first aid were talking amongst themselves. What's going on outside? There have been several explosions already, and the teachers also mentioned it. With us and won't let us out. The other girl said, if you go out now, you'll just cause more trouble. Why not just stay put where it's safe? Another girl agreed, saying that's right. There's no need to worry, this is the safest place. In all of Kaiyuan High School, the spirit energy array outside can block any attack below the deity transformation stage. Meanwhile, Lahan was still worried about Toli. He had told them to go to the safe zone first and that he would go report the situation to the principal and then come. She thought Toli said he'd return to the safe zone in a bit, so why? Hasn't he shown up yet? Lahan quickly dialed Toli's number, worried that something might have happened to him. Lahan bit her hand anxiously as she called over and over, but no one answered. Where are you? Pick up the phone. The line on the other end announced, sorry, the number you have dialed is switched off, please try again later. Hearing this message, tears welled up in Lahan's eyes. What do I do now? Something must have happened to Toli. His phone is never turned off. Lahan trembled. As she lowered her phone and hurriedly ran off, Lahan went out to find him thinking, Toli, you absolutely cannot let anything happen to you. At that moment, Toli was getting beaten to a pulp by Captain Oma. He wiped the blood from his mouth, trying to hold his ground, thinking this is bad. Whether it's combat experience or raw power, it seems I'm no match for him. Meanwhile, Oma was also thinking, why do I feel the chi and blood in my body surging uncontrollably? It must be because my body hasn't been this pumped up in a long time. That's right, it can't be any other reason. Oma spoke up, saying, kid, you're no match for me. Stop wasting your energy in vain, save your strength, and be a good little hostage for me, Toli. Pointed at him and said, look, someone's coming. Oma paid him no mind, cracking his knuckles as he approached. Stop trying to scare me. There's absolutely no aura of any cultivator around here. Toli clenched his trembling fists. He predicted that the explosion from earlier must have attracted the attention of the principal and the others. Right? He backed away, thinking, Principal, you guys have to hurry up. I can't hold on much longer. And just like that, a wave of spirit energy appeared from behind. Oma turned around alarmed. Crap. Someone really is here. And it's a golden core stage master. This kid was playing tricks. He intentionally caused a conflict with me for the sole purpose of using the spirit energy waves to attract the other professors over here. Oma glanced up and saw the principal, Wu Difa teacher Su Huide, and professors like Zhao Fei Lu Chun and Li Feng. He also saw that Yang Gui had been captured. He finally realized he'd been tricked. The principal spoke up. Surrender with your hands up. You're the only one left from Choc Munan. Your entire squad has been wiped out. They informed Oma, your accomplice has also sold you out. At that moment, a terrified Yan Gui tried to explain himself, but the spirit energy seal prevented him from speaking. Oma grew furious. You guys really are unreliable. What a bunch of useless trash. Since you're all here, then I'll just take you all down. At once Oma was startled. Why is my body suddenly out of my control? He coughed and knelt, down recalling his fight with Toli earlier. Could it be that I used up too much stamina just now? Someone shouted. Teacher Tan, Miss Lu, now's the chance, get him. Following the command, Teacher Tan attacked from behind while Miss Lu flanked him from the butt side. They rushed in and attacked him together. Oma was cornered and got badly injured. Miss Lu said, next I'll leave it to. Then she replied, no problem, watch and see if I can't shatter this big rock then. Oma was sent flying by the two of them. Flying far away and crashing hard into the stands, Miss Lu took a defensive stance. Humph, I thought you were all that. So that's your big attack, huh? Talai marveled to himself. Miss Lu's legs are so long. Oh, Oma in the distance, even after taking the hit, still yelled out, don't look down on us, Choc Munan. We always have a way to drag you down with us. As he finished speaking, he pressed the detonator for the Oma bomb. He gloated, come on, destroy Kainguin High School. Then he laughed hysterically, but after he finished speaking, nothing happened at all. A dead silence enveloped Oma as he wondered what happened. Why didn't it explode? Talai, who was up ahead, smirked and answered, oh my bad, a little while ago I went ahead and disarmed all the bombs you guys planted around the school. Oma then furiously crushed the remote, you little demon time, and again you ruined my plans. The principal spoke up. You don't have any trump cards left to fight us with. If you surrender, now we'll hand you over to the Law Enforcement Bureau. Perhaps you'll even be able to keep your life. Oma refused to yield. You want me to surrender? How is that possible? I will not be defeated. After he spoke, the remaining teachers, who were no slouches themselves, immediately unleashed their power. Just then Lahan ran over. Talai, are you okay? Talai was surprised and exclaimed, Lahan. She approached him worriedly. Your phone showed it was turned off earlier. You scared me to death. Talai smiled to reassure her. I'm okay. Luckily the principal and the others arrived. In time he then asked bewilderedly, it's so dangerous here, why did you come running over? Lahan answered shyly, I was worried about you in the distance. Oma laughed. What a pity, there is a powerful bomb right in the middle of you bunch of idiots. And you didn't even notice it. A confused Miss Lu asked, what is he talking about? There's a bomb among us, the principal reassured. Everyone don't just stand there making threats. Oma thought to himself, today not a single one of you will get out of here alive. He commanded, release the seal. The bound Yan Gui gasped in astonishment. Miss Lu warned everyone, look out behind him. Seeing this, the principal shouted, this is not good. The spiritual energy on his body is increasing at twice the normal rate. Yan Guy screamed, he's breaking the chains in a moment. His entire body's spiritual energy is going to explode, he warned. Everyone get back now, be careful. Seeing Yan Gui charging towards him, Talai stepped forward to protect Lahan. Quickly get next to the principal. Leave this to me. Looking at the berserk Yan Gui in front of him, Talai then ran forward and grabbed a hold of Yan Gui. Oma was shocked. What do you think you're doing holding on to him? Talai ran towards Oma and replied, of course I'm returning this thing to its original owner. Oma panicked, if you do that you'll die for sure too. Talai paid him no mind and gripped his hair tightly. Talai held Yan Gui like a toy. The ones who are definitely going to die are the two of you. I'm not going with you. Then he threw him with all his might. The principal then moved to protect Lahan. Don't go, it's too dangerous. Lahan desperately reached out her hand. Teacher Tan, Miss Lu, prepare the defensive formation. Don't let the blast radius become too large. Everyone quickly complied. Okay, Miss Lu, and Teacher Tan opened this formation, reporting in position. Position confirmed. Oma roared in fury. Get the hell away from me. Your target is them, not me. The principal was still preparing everything to protect his student. Heaven position is set A. Formation appeared. The three talents. Spiritual energy grand formation. Lahan was still crying out in despair. Talai at this moment at the Bureau of Enforcement. In the main hall of Infinity City's Law Enforcement Bureau, a secretary holding a report announced that the monitoring system detected a spiritual energy explosion at Kaiyuan High School with a spiritual energy index of 6 points. The blast radius is 100 meters. Seeing this, the manager sitting in his chair asked again, a spiritual energy index of 6.0, and the affected area is only 100 meters. He is Elder Hua. He works at the Law Enforcement Bureau. It seems someone must have interfered beforehand. A notice board appeared displaying the spiritual energy explosion index. It's scaled from 0 to 10. 0 to 3 is a minor spiritual energy explosion. 3 to 6 is a medium spiritual energy explosion, and 6 to 9 is a major spiritual energy explosion. Above 9 is a special grade spiritual energy explosion. He stepped forward and said this explosion is most likely an attack. By Choc Munan, let's head to Kayuan High School immediately. At this moment, the explosion had already produced thick black smoke billowing into the sky. The demonic miasma exploded everywhere. The principal assessed the situation, a spiritual energy explosion of this magnitude. Even a nascent soul stage expert might not survive it. Teacher Sun looked at the ruins ahead and cried out in distress, Su Li Luohan. She collapsed in sorrow. Then wouldn't Su Li be in that thick black smoke? A voice called out, I'm okay. He was safe and sound, smiling brightly at everyone. After smiling, Su Li's eyes grew dim and hazy, and he was about to pass out. Luohan rushed over with everyone else worriedly shouting, Su Li, wake up now, don't scare me. The principal knelt down to heal him, saying, Don't worry, I'll use the spirit thread art to check his injuries. He used his spiritual energy to protect his internal organs, so he's fine. Suddenly someone arrived riding a sword, and Teacher Sun and Ms. Lu turned to see who it was. A woman wearing the badge of the Law Enforcement Bureau appeared. An announcement was made. Principal, the enforcers have arrived. The principal went to greet them, thinking Kayuan High School has encountered such a major incident, their law enforcement bureau was bound to show up sooner or later. But it took them so long to get here? Elder Hua replied. Principal Wu, I'm very sorry. We're a little late. He smiled and added, Rest assured, regarding the Choc Munan matter, our 9th enforcement team has always taken it very seriously. My personal arrival is the best proof of that. Hearing this, the principal replied, It's fine. We've already dealt with the person. How to handle the remaining matters is up to the enforcement team. Elder Hua's side fell silent upon hearing this as they approached a crater from the explosion. At the bottom were the Choc Munan. I can't believe Choc Munan sent a golden core stage expert this time. He wondered who dealt with him, and the principal replied it was one of my students. Hearing this, they were utterly astonished. A student, Elder Hua, stared intently at Su Li, and a student who's only in the Qi refining stage at that. A Qi refining stage student defeated a golden core stage member of Choc Munan? How is that possible? After that, Elder Hua walked over and touched Su Li's chest. The boy let out a groan, and Elder Hua asked, Hey kid, are you feeling any better now? Su Li slowly opened his eyes. Suddenly he saw a halo of light behind Elder Hua. Do you see it? Su Li's eyes widened as he replied, Yeah. The old man closed his eyes, hearing the kid's cheeky words. I see it, old man. Your face seems to have a lot of freckles. Su Li said innocently, Why did you want me to see that? The old man was flustered and decided to just show off. No, your focus is wrong. I meant for you to look at the purple gold vine behind me. The gourd vine has 7 leaves. It can bear fruit, and the lowest level fruit is nascent soul stage. The characters for early, mid, and peak stage on the gourds represent the grade. The cultivation path includes tribulation, transcendence, Mahayana body, integration, aperture, leaving void, returning, and spirit transformation. Luoshin exclaimed in amazement, The first fruit? On the first vine, the characters above read, Peak of the peak nascent soul stage. Hearing this, old man Feng smirked smugly. This young lady still has good taste. She has sharp eyes. He gave a threatening glare. So answer my questions seriously. Absolutely do not conspire to lie or hide anything. Elder Hua leaned down and asked Su Li, Was everything that happened at this scene your doing? He replied, Of course I did it. What is there to hide from you guys? The old man lifted his glasses to get a better look, and then he ordered, Bring the inspection device over here. Although this kid doesn't seem to be lying, we need to verify. Through scientific means, just to be sure, the members of the Law Enforcement Bureau heard the order, bowed their heads and replied, Yes, sir. Then he brought out the inspection device. He aimed it at the Choc Munan members. Su Li wondered, What is that thing the old man is holding? The principal explained, That is an exclusive inspection device of the enforcement squad. It can use spiritual energy to inspect a person who has passed away to reconstruct the situation before their death. However, most of the time it only shows fragmented scenes. Elder Hua looked at Wu Ma and thought to himself, It's been a long time since I've met such a formidable opponent. You kids certainly count as one. Reviewing the battle, when Su Li confronted Wu Ma, my body suddenly went out of control and the seal was broken. Get away from me! Your target is them, not me. After watching, Elder Hua simply hummed and said, I now understand the course of events. We will take the bodies back for examination, he added. As for the rest, Principal Wu and I will go handle the report together. That will be all. The principal said, Luoshin, take Su Li to get some rest. I will go with the enforcement squad. She heard and replied, yes. Principal Su Li let out a sigh of relief and gave Luoshin an I'm okay sign. She carried him on her back and said, next time don't be so reckless like that again. You won't be this lucky every time, you know, he replied. I know. Then she scolded Su Li. Every time? You say that, but don't you always end up causing me trouble? Su Li put on an innocent face and said, you worry too much. Then Luoshin got angry and scolded him. What nonsense are you spouting? He replied. I got it, my dear class president. From now on, I promise I won't cause you any more trouble. Elder Hua glanced in Su Li's direction, his expression serious as he thought, a chi refining stage cultivator. Truly interesting. 3 days later, the school's announcement rang out. Fellow students, you have all likely heard about the Choc Munan sex invasion of Kaiyuan High School. Now that the matter has been resolved, the scheduled exam oath-taking ceremony will now commence. Only then did the students begin to whisper among themselves. I heard the Choc Munan had a golden core stage master that's seriously scary. Yeah, but I can't believe they were handled by a student from our school for real. Which student is that? Amazing? Just then the principal appeared. He cleared his throat and began the announcement. First, I want to speak to all the 12th graders on the field. You are the pillars of society, the core strength of all cultivators. With the coming of the primordial era, you will carry the future of humanity on your shoulders. Therefore, in the 1 month you have remaining, you must prepare thoroughly. Strive to get into the university you desire. Next, he announced, the second matter concerns student Su Li. He looked in Su Li's direction as he commended him. During the Choc Munan incident, he made a significant contribution, earning a commendation from the enforcement squad and a letter of recommendation. In light of student Su Li's consistently excellent academic record and his performance during this incident, the school has decided to recommend. Classmate Su got a direct admission to the martial arts university. Hearing this, his classmates turned green with envy. A recommendation, you say? Did I hear that right? That's the life. How could Su Li be a top student? When will I ever get that lucky? Just once. Getting into the martial arts university without even taking the entrance exam. Did you guys hear? There's also a recommendation letter from the Enforcement Bureau. After graduating, he can go straight to work for them. I'm so jealous it's killing me. Luohan walked over to congratulate him. Congratulations! You finally don't have to worry about the martial arts university anymore. Su Li puffed out his chest and replied, haha, just lucky is all. Then Luohan looked at Su Li and said, future enforcer Lord Su Li. Hearing that from Luohan, he blushed shyly. Behind them, teacher Sun also waved. Su Li, my boy, you've hit the jackpot this time, the teacher joyfully hugged Su Li. But this is what you deserve. With academic results as good as yours, if you couldn't achieve foundation establishment and couldn't get into the martial arts university, it would have been a huge shame. Su Li scratched his head humbly. Teacher Sun, I should be thanking you for your guidance all these years. You've been so worried about me not being able to achieve foundation establishment, helping me find ways to get into the martial arts university. The teacher moved to tears replied, this is all what a teacher should do. As long as you can get into college, my efforts won't have been in vain. Even though you've secured a direct admission now, you can't get lazy with your training, not even for a single minute. Su Li finally let out a sigh of relief and replied, time to go home. First, I need to rest for a while. The teachers all came out to say goodbye to him. Yes, I'll definitely work hard and not disappoint you. Meanwhile, at Su Li's house, his house was no different from the school, as large as a mansion. He had just gotten home and let out a sigh. He thought to himself, I can finally enjoy this well-deserved break. Although I've solved the problem of getting into college, the core issue still hasn't been resolved. Su Li was soaking in the tub, wondering how he could possibly achieve foundation establishment. Suddenly the doorbell rang. Hearing it, Su Li wondered, who could it be this late at night? He quickly threw on a robe and said, coming. A girl on the other side of the door let out a sigh of relief, perhaps because someone was finally coming to open the door. When Su Li opened it, he was surprised. Miss Lu, it's so late, is something wrong? She stood with her arms crossed, holding a notice. Su Li, the principal sent me to talk to you. Hearing this, Su Li thought the principal calling for me at this hour definitely can't be anything good. He's probably arranging some extra mission for me. With that thought, he smiled and replied, Miss Lu, my body still hasn't recovered yet. Whatever it is, can we wait until school starts to talk about it? Hearing that, she lifted her leg. Miss Lu kicked right through the door, startling Su Li. She stepped inside and said, this concerns your college admission and career opportunities. Are you sure you don't want to hear about it? Su Li, on the verge of tears, invited her in. Please come in. After that, Miss Lu walked inside and handed him an envelope containing a notice from the Enforcement Bureau. This is the recommendation letter the Enforcement Bureau gave you. After you graduate from college, you can use this to directly take up the position at the Enforcement Bureau. Su Li began to look through the sections. Miss Lu continued, however, they have one small request. They want you to go to the Dangan Guild during your vacation to undergo training for 1 month. While reading, Su Li suddenly exclaimed. He was stunned as if struck by lightning. What go to the guild? Dangan? Why was he so panicked? The so-called Dangan Guild, located in Dangan City on the Beast Frontier, is an organization that strikes fear into the hearts of others at the mere mention of its name. Dangan City has always been a lawless place where countless criminals and outlaws congregate. A life of murder, robbery, death matches, and constant nerve-wracking fear is the daily routine there. And the Dangan Guild is the main headquarters for these criminals. The guild periodically issues all sorts of bounty missions, but these missions have far fewer restrictions than official government bounties. As long as the goal is achieved, anything goes. Even betrayal and slaughter among its own members are extremely common. When they take out their own boss, they just laugh and say, "Sorry boss, you were worth a pretty penny, I'm rich now." Just going to Dangan City means whether you can even make it back alive is a huge question, let alone getting into a martial arts university. Looking at that enforcement notice, Tulai said, Miss Lu, please do me a favor and pass a message to the principal. That recommendation letter and direct admission slot for this university, I don't need them anymore. I'll figure out how to get into a university on my own. Suddenly, she fiddled with a ring on her finger. Lu Thua spoke up. First off, don't be so quick to refuse. I know you're worried because Dangan City is an incredibly dangerous place. So, before I came here, I prepared some great items for you. Lu Thua placed the items on the table saying, these are for you. This is a 9 Revolutions soul returning pill. Even if your meridians are completely severed and you're down to your last breath, taking this will keep you alive. This is the Keelan Lock armor. When you wear it, ordinary blades and spears won't be able to injure you. As long as your opponent isn't a cultivator at the deity transformation stage, it can block a full-powered attack for you. Lu Thua offered these things to To Lai. Seeing these items, his heart was torn in two. On one hand, these were all incredibly rare treasures, but for the sake of his own safety and survival, he had to endure the pain. One side of him desperately wanted to take them, screaming, I want it, while the other side fought back. No, you don't want them. In the end, his good side won. To Lai refused with a smile and replied, you should keep such priceless treasures for yourself. It's better if you use them. Suddenly, Lu Thua pulled out one final item. This is the limited edition black card. Issued by the Dangan Guild. Only a handful of VIPs in the cultivation world own one. She pushed it toward him. With this, you can move freely throughout Dangan City without any restrictions. Li stared silently at the card for a moment. Then he dejectedly said, you should keep such a valuable black card for yourself. He thought to himself, if this card is that amazing, why would she just hand it over to me so easily? She probably just grabbed a random card to trick me, right? She suddenly got furious. Lu Thua stood up and slammed the table, shouting at To Lai, have you really thought this through? To Lai recoiled, his face pale, thinking, is she going to resort to brute force? Lu Thua angrily slammed the table and unleashed her technique, Snow Transformation. This is how you truly use spiritual energy? Aren't you even a little bit tempted? She scolded. This trip to the Dangan Guild could be your chance to find a breakthrough from the chi refining stage. To Lai touched the stream of power in astonishment. This is real, pure spiritual energy. In an instant, Lu Thua had covered the entire room in frost. When you get there, you'll also be able to manipulate natural spiritual energy, just like me. Then Lu Thua placed a hand on his chest. The spiritual energy in your body is abundant, but it has no outlet to be released. This is great. Miss Lu pointed at him and added, you can think of it this way. Just like the snowflake I just condensed before I give it pressure and attributes, it is a formless mass of spiritual energy with no attributes. Lu Thua continued to persuade him, if you apply prez, sure it can take any shape. Give it an attribute and it can change its state. Ms. Lu called out before, coming here, your director and I looked into your situation. You've never struggled with your cultivation even once. You always rank first on every test. Her words shocked To Lai. This has caused your environment to become abnormal, peaceful without any external pressure. She said this might very well be the fundamental reason why you can't break through from the chi refining stage to the foundation establishment stage. Ms. Lu raised her arm as fiery power enveloped her hand. People only change when they face pressure. The you of right now just so happens to need this pressure. She focused the power in her hand and then unleashed it. The Dangan Guild is indeed dangerous, but the items and the black card I gave you can protect you to a great extent. A wave of passion radiated from Luthua. Believe me, they can guarantee your safety when you're in Dangan City. Talai watched wide-eyed as her powerful attack lit up the room. He then thought for a moment, analyzing Ms. Lu's point. It actually sounds very reasonable. It's true, ever since I was a kid, I've never had to worry about cultivation no matter who it was. They always gave me the best resources, so my growth rate was also very fast. Talai gave a wry smile and thought, so the reason I still can't break through the chi refining stage is because my life is too comfortable. As she spoke, she held up the principal's notice. If you still stubbornly refuse, I won't force you anymore, but I'll have to take back the black card and these treasures. Suddenly, Talai pressed his hand down on the notice and said, I'll go to the Dangan Guild. After making his decision, Talai thought, at worst I'll just slack off when I get there. I won't touch anything dangerous. Talai figured he wouldn't take on dangerous missions, and he wouldn't get involved with dangerous people. Then he happily held the treasure in his hand. I just need to stay at the Dangan Guild for 1 month and all these treasures plus direct admission to the martial arts university will be mine. He smugly held the items in his hands. This isn't a bad deal at all. Ms. Lu turned to leave, saying, then it's settled. Afterwards, Luthua smiled and announced, someone will come to pick you up for the Dangan Guild at 10 in the morning tomorrow. The next day, a series of chimes rang out. Talai was packing his things to leave and said, just a second, I'm coming. Looking at the hole Ms. Luthua had kicked open yesterday, he was surprised. Lahan, why? Is it you? Lahan linked her arm with his and replied, what's wrong? Are you not happy to see me? Lahan said, I received orders from our teacher to come and pick you up for Dangan City. Talai was puzzled. Aren't you preparing for the Martial Arts University's entrance exam? Why? Do you have the free time to go to Dangan City with me? Lahan replied, the Martial Arts University, because the primordial era might be returning, is preparing. This year, the entrance exam involves going into an S-class zone to hunt vicious beasts. I also wanted to come and get familiar with it. Then she added, but I also heard from my dad that other people don't know yet. I'm telling you first. Talai smiled, pointed at her and said, Dangan City is more dangerous than I imagined. When you run into trouble, then don't come crying to me. Okay, La. Han crossed her arms and said, you're the one who'll be crying. Hearing that, Talai turned away and said, let's go. La Han pointed in another direction. Hey, you're going the wrong way. Dangan City is this way. Seeing this, she continued, no wonder Ms. Lu told me to come and lead the way. You really have no sense of direction. Just then, on the outskirts of Dangan City, Talai noticed her start to tremble. If you're scared, I can take you back right now. Lahan replied, I'm not scared, it's just a normal physical reaction. Hearing that, Talai teased her, all right, I get it, you're the bravest young lady around. Then just hold on to me tight. Okay, Lahan did as he said. Seeing this, Talai blushed, thinking, that's a little too tight. A moment later, they arrived. This must be Dangan City, the place we were looking for. They stood at the main gate of Dangan City. A guy who was smoking grunted and said, they always stick us with patrol duty here. He got annoyed by the sound, wondering to himself, who the hell comes to Dangan City at this time of night? Another one was completely wasted. Yeah, we can't even make enough for a night out at the bar. A different guy looked through his binoculars. Then he announced to the others, hey guys, look over there. Looks like we've got some work to do. They looked through the binoculars, and what they saw was, look at that 2 greenhorn students. A little couple running out here for a date, huh? Another guy, mid-slurp from his noodle bowl, said, looks like our luck on patrol today isn't half bad. They were on the 250th floor of Dangan City. A sign there read, Dangan part-timers, remember to clock in. Seeing Talai and Lahan, they started bickering. I'll take care of that boy. After saying that, he tossed his noodle bowl aside, and one by one they leaped down from above. Time to get to work. Talai shouted repeatedly, hey, is anyone there? Open up. We want to get inside Dangan City. Just then, at the city gate, the thugs leaped down from above, laughing heartily. First time I've seen prey willingly come knocking. One of them, a large blade resting on his shoulder, greeted them. Yo! Then he ordered his underlings to surround them, and the group of 4 guards struck intimidating poses. Lahan and Talai were stunned silent for a moment. Then she warned, these guys look extremely vicious. I've got a bad feeling they're not going to be easy to handle. Talai reassured her, Dangan City is a hub for all sorts of criminals. No one here is a saint. In a moment, just be careful and stick close behind me. You'll be fine. One of the guards brandished his sword. Hey, cut the chatter. If you want to get through this gate, you gotta offer up a little something. Don't spoil our fun. Hey kid, if you know how things work, you'll play along. If not, don't blame us for what happens next. He then pulled the card that Miss Lu had given him from his pocket. Here's your little something. Then he threw it straight towards them. Catch. He thought to himself, of all the treasures Miss Lu gave me, this card looked the most useless, but maybe it'll be enough to trick these guys. The guard saw him toss the card and thought to himself, a hidden weapon. The card flew and smacked him right in the face. His men yelled out, boss. One of them asked, boss, are you all right? While the other two pointed at Tu Lai. You damn brat, you've got a lot of nerve trying to pull a fast one on our boss, Lahan commented. With a throw like that, it's a real shame you're not a hidden weapons specialist. Tu Lai looked bewildered and said, I just tossed it randomly. The card wasn't embedded too deeply in the boss's forehead. He trembled, tears welling in his eyes. You people, he said as he pulled the card out. He was furious and started yelling, if you don't give me some compensation that I find satisfactory, don't even think about leaving here today. Pay Up Tu Lai broke out in a cold sweat, thinking, oh, come on, is he seriously trying to scam us? Suddenly, the boss glanced down at the card in his hand. It was a powerful black card and he froze. He quickly scrambled to his feet, approached them, and bowed a full 90 degrees, handing the card back. My apologies. My deepest apologies. I had no idea you would be arriving so early this year, sir. This lowly one was ignorant. I'll open the gate for you immediately. Lahan was baffled. She asked, did that card knock his senses loose or something? Why did his attitude do a complete 180-degree flip like that? Those guys frantically rushed to open the gate. Why did I say open the gate? Tully replied. Not at all. I haven't even used any force yet. Could it be because of that black card? After that, he bowed his head and handed the card to him. Sir, please take this. Remembering what Miss Lu said, this is the limited edition black card. Issued by the Dangan Guild, only a few famous figures in the cultivation world possess it. With it, you can pass freely through Dangan City without anyone stopping you. Remembering those words, he was amazed. This black card really has that kind of power? Looking at the opened gate, it seems Miss Lu wasn't lying to me. That night he walked in accompanied by deep bows. Boss, are we just gonna let them go like that? Didn't you see the black card in their hands? Serial number 009 that belongs to the principal of Kaiyuan High School, Principal Ngo. If some worthless grunts like us dare to mess with his students, we'd probably lose our lives, he continued. Every year during the break, Principal Ngo arranges for a few 12th grade students to come here to train for over 10 years now. Rain or shine, from what I know, more than half of them who came here have become a major force. Among cultivators, you can see Principal Ngo has a very sharp eye. Then that guy looked at Tully surprised, but why did he arrange for a little chi refining stage brat this year? I don't get it. Inside Dangan City, there are many vices within. Here on a wall, two guys were fighting. You get over here. Below, a couple was getting intimate, baby. In the middle of the street, an artist turned rapper was performing. Nearby, some gangsters were bullying a guy, the boss's man, and you dare to touch him. Help in the distance, a girl on a balcony was smoking the next assassination target. Is the team leader. Meanwhile, Tully and Lahan walked in together. Witnessing the scene, he exclaimed, this place is really something. Lahan opened a map of the city. Look, the Dangan Guild is the center of the city. As long as you enter this city, no matter which path you take, you will eventually end up at the Dangan Guild. Finally, they arrived at the Dangan Guild. Tully didn't forget to raise his phone to take a picture. This renovation must have cost a fortune. In the lobby of the Dangan Guild, the two of them walked in completely. Stunned, the voices of the crowd blended into a loud clamor. Excuse me, where do I collect my payment? Hello, please get in line, get lost. Why are you cursing at people? I want to accept a C-rank mission, Tully exclaimed. So many people. He then held up the card. Excuse me, what procedures do I need to follow for my first time here? A guild receptionist saw him and greeted him warmly. Sir, you are an esteemed black card member. Please follow me. Seeing this, the people around them looked at him and gasped, holy cow, a black card? I'm not seeing things, am I? Tully was then invited inside. Hello, Mr. Toe. All eyes were on him. This person looks so young. I can't believe someone so young could be so powerful. Then they brought out a communication device. Hello, Principal. Ngo of Kaiyuan. High school is calling for you, he says. Tully, this is where you'll be primarily operating for the next month. In short, if you want to survive here, you must adapt to the rules of the Dangan Guild. Won't tell you specifically what to do during this 1 month. Everything depends on you, Tully. Listened to his teacher's words and replied, I understand, Principal. After the call ended, she handed him 2 cards. Hello, Mr. Toe. This is the room key for you two. She then held up the black card and explained, "Your entry qualification for the beast fighting arena has been registered for you. Now please proceed to participate in your first beast fight." The two of them not understanding what was happening, exclaimed beast fighting. He put an arm around Su Li and said, "It seems Mr. Su still doesn't know this is a tradition at our Dangan Guild." The two girls on his arms then introduced the rule to him, that any member registering with the guild for the first time must complete one beast fight to assess their rank. Of course, for the first challenge, we won't arrange for an overly powerful beast, so Mr. Su can rest assured. Then they led him to a door to the beast fighting arena below. "You two please follow me this way." After that, they pressed the button for the negative 10th floor. Luo Han whispered, "The floor numbers here are negative. I wonder what's underground." They explained that the further down you go, the more dangerous it gets and one shouldn't wander around alone. Having reached the negative 10th floor, they opened the door. "We're here. Ahead is the beast fighting arena." Su Li's eyes widened in astonishment. In front of him was a ferocious beast and a young man fighting with all his might. He landed a direct punch on the monster, knocking it down. "Dali, finish it for us." Everyone was cheering him on. "I've bet my entire fortune on you to win, Dali. Hurry up and land the knockout punch." He relentlessly charged forward, striking furiously at the monster. An announcement rang out. "Let's congratulate the winner of this match, Dali." "Dali, that was amazing," people in the stands shouted. "He really lives up to the name, Dali. I've won big, ha ha ha." After enjoying the match of fighter Dali, and I believe everyone is eagerly anticipating the next beast fight. So then who will our next challenger be? The announcer declared, "This next challenger is incredible. The youngest black card holder in the history of the Dangan Guild." Hearing this, the audience in the stands erupted in cheers. "Is that for real? A black card challenger? Today's ticket was totally worth it." The announcer called out the next name. "Let's welcome our black card holder, Su Li." He was stunned, not understanding what was happening. "What's going on? Is it my turn already?" The guide replied, "As a black card holder, you have the privilege of priority challenges." Su Li had no choice but to take off his jacket and enter the arena. "I really could do without this privilege." Luo Han called out worriedly, "Su Li, you have to be careful." He reassured her, "Don't worry, I'll be fine." The spectators above were murmuring, to be able to possess a black card at such a young age. His strength must be immense, right? At least mid-stage golden core. The MC holding his information sheet said, "Let me introduce our challenger a bit." The paper read, "Black card challenger name Su Li, cultivation stages. Key refinement, number 009 male." After reading, the MC was horrified. This information on here can't be a mistake, can it? Key refinement stage. Hearing that, everyone laughed. Key refinement stage? I bet he's never even seen a beast in his entire life. When the beast deals with him directly in a moment, I'll be able to double my money. They mocked Su Li. "So he's just a noob. Did he steal that black card or something? It's about to start. I'm waiting to collect my winnings." Just then he recalled the time he fought the heavenly horned dragon. He had indeed encountered a beast before. Besides, his luck wasn't good enough to defeat a few of them on its own. At that moment, the person who opened the beast cage turned out to be the guy from Choc Munan. The announcer declared, "Without further ado, let the challenge officially begin." Su Li tensed up. Why did they release that monster? The audience above was terrified. Forget a chi refinement stage, even a peak golden core cultivator would lose their life against that. "I'm afraid this kid won't be leaving here alive today." At that moment, everyone was completely shocked. Lahan, however, was worried. She silently cheered him on. "Talai, you absolutely cannot let anything happen to you." Just then, the announcer began to briefly introduce the match. What we're seeing now is the undefeated Rainbow Steel Wolf. Just what kind of showdown will unfold between it and Talai? Talai was bewildered. Didn't they say the first challenge is just a warm-up and they don't arrange for a very strong spirit beast? He then thought, this spirit beast doesn't look weak at all. This wolf stepped out full of momentum, approaching Talai. The announcer still couldn't believe this was real. According to the script, it was clearly written as a newborn steel wolf. So why is there suddenly a mature combat king? He had no idea. At that moment, elsewhere, a man in a cloak was enjoying a glass of champagne. It was Old Hua from the Enforcement Bureau. Old Hua reported, "Following your instructions, I've swapped the original E-rank spirit beast for an A-rank one." The man praised, "Very good. Well done." Then he sat back chilling and said, "Even if someone comes to investigate later, we'll just use the excuse of a work error to cover it up and get away with it. Of course, no one will ever know it was us." Down in the arena, it was starting to probe its opponent. Talai did the same. Wolves are canine-type spirit beasts known for swift attacks and one-hit kills. Right now it was looking for an opportunity to strike. At that very moment it lunged forward. Talai thought, "Here it comes," the announcer commented. "The rainbow steel wolf has initiated the first attack. Let's see if the challenger Talai can block this hit." Lahan cheered, "Talai, you can do it right now." Talai was concentrating. "I have to quickly circulate my defensive chi. If I lose my very first challenge, it would be way too embarrassing." Talai exerted all his strength, his hair and clothes billowing up, revealing his six-pack abs. 100 layers, 1,000 layers. The wolf was now being overwhelmed by Talai's power. It reached 10,000 layers. An abundant source of power surged from within Talai's body outward. The explosive force slammed the wolf into the corner of the arena. "Oh my god, am I seeing things?" The rainbow steel wolf was sent flying by, Talai's spirit chi alone. What powerful spirit chi! Is this kid really just at the chi condensation stage? The audience witnessed a spectacular scene and roared with excitement. "Hey, hurry up and get some security for the audience in the front. Our safety isn't guaranteed." The announcer quickly tried to calm them down. "My sincerest apologies, everyone. I'll arrange it immediately." The wolf flew straight into the front stands, injuring and terrifying many people. Holy crap! If I'd known it was this dangerous, you couldn't have paid me to sit in the front row. Help me. Watching him fight, Lahan was now surrounded by other girls. "Wow, your little boyfriend is so strong." He sent an A-rank spirit beast flying. Lahan tried her best to explain. "We're just classmates." The girl beside her continued to tease. "He looks so brave." Lahan blushed furiously, her face burning hot. "But Talai's strength is truly beyond my expectations. Even at my foundation establishment stage, I can't guarantee that I could defeat this spirit beast yet. Talai, who's only at the chi condensation stage, did it." Just then, the wolf got back its composure. The rainbow steel wolf is standing up again. The MC continued his commentary. "It's been enraged and is about to unleash its fury. Talai, are you ready?" The wolf began to circle him. "It's trying to use its high-speed movement to mess with my judgment, so I can't tell which angle it will attack from." The MC continued his commentary. "The rainbow steel wolf is using its ultimate move, the Four Directions Wolf Shadow Annihilation Formation." Talai found this strange. In an instant there were four of them. Which one is the real body? Just then Toli thought of a way. If he can't tell which one is the real body, the MC suddenly shouted, "Toli is about to counterattack. He has released a dense spiritual energy." "What is he trying to do?" Toli said. "In that case, I'll just deal with all of them." He unleashed his move, a dissipating burst of spiritual energy. The wolves charging at him were cut off by a wave of power. They sensed the danger ahead, but couldn't even touch the edge, freezing in their tracks. The announcer excitedly yelled, "Huh!" For some unknown reason, the rainbow steel stamen wolves seem to have suddenly lost their ability to move. This is clearly an A-rank beast, so why is it having such a hard time against Toli? This guy's chi refining stage is weird. He's been tricking us, right? What's with the act? The wolf slowly backed away while Toli Hao continued his assault. He pushed the wolf's snout up gotcha, then Toli slammed it to the ground and it howled in pain. Contestant Toli has taken down the rainbow steel stamen wolf. This is unbelievable. After putting a hole right through the wolf's throat, Toli thought, "The floor is shattered. They're not going to make me pay for that, are they?" The announcer continued. Contestant Toli, who is only at the chi refining stage, managed to defeat the rainbow steel stamen wolf. Over on the side, the medic said, "We're sorry, we did everything we could." Hearing this, its handler mourned for it. "It's a great pity the rainbow steel stamen wolf has stopped breathing," the MC announced. "Then I declare that in this beast-slaying battle, contestant Toli is the winner." He raised the champion's hand. The crowd below roared with cheers. "Amazing you, Chi. Refining kid. I admit I was laughing at you a bit too loudly at the start. I told you so. How could a beast slayer with a black card be weak?" In the distance, Lahan also jumped for joy. "He won? I knew Toli would be fine." The announcer's hand touched the wolf. "Let's see what spoils of war contestant Toli has won from this beast-slaying battle." A beast crystal flew up. It's a beast crystal of A+ quality. A girl in the crowd was shocked. "Wow, that beast crystal looks like it's worth around 100,000. Another guy spoke up. "If I could get a beast crystal like that from fighting a monster, I'd be rich." Someone else retorted, "What the hell are you thinking? Only beasts above A-rank drop crystals of that quality, you'd just be asking for death." Then the announcer handed it to Toli. "Contestant Toli, please accept this." He was surprised and pointed at himself. "This beast crystal is for me." He replied, "Of course, all spoils from the beast fights belong to the challenger. At the same time, the challenge points you've earned have been transferred to your account at the Dangan Guild." An information panel appeared. Name Toli, age 18, black card holder, Dongan Guild rank E, account point balance 500 points. Dangan Guild points are the common currency in Dangan City. You can use these points to exchange for, any item you want. Toli's expression turned serious. In this world, everyone knows the value of beast crystals. Whether it's for alchemy cultivation or inlaying magical artifacts, large quantities of beast crystals are needed. Toli picked up the beast crystal and smiled. The higher the quality of a beast crystal, the greater the energy it contains and the higher its value. In order from lowest to highest, the qualities are C rank, B rank, A rank, which is what Toli is holding, and finally S rank. Toli was pleased. Slaying beasts not only earns you Dangan Guild points, but you can also obtain beast crystals elsewhere. Meanwhile, Su Li, one of the rich kids from Infinity City, was daydreaming. What if young Master Su invited him into a car? If I came to challenge someone every day, wouldn't I become a tycoon in just a few days? A girl next to him whispered, "Congratulations on winning your first match and obtaining a beast core of extraordinary value." At this moment, Su Li was still lost in his daydream, laughing gleefully, while elsewhere old man Hua angrily smashed his wine glass. "Damn it, that little brat from the chi refining stage escaped again," he ordered. "Is the person I requested arranged for yet?" They bowed their heads and replied, "Rest assured she has arrived." Slow footsteps approached as that girl walked through the challenge gate. She looked at Su Li with an unfriendly expression and spoke up, "I want to challenge Su Li." The host, hearing this, immediately announced, "Ladies and gentlemen, Su Li has been challenged. Now let's welcome Su Li, the owner of the black card, who just defeated a Class A demonic beast as he faces another challenge of a lifetime. Amazing, this young lady is here for the Class A beast core." She frowned at Su Li, who turned to look at her. "It seems this chi refining stage kid is going to be famous today." An announcement rang out. Mr. Su returned to the arena in 10 days. To accept the challenge, Luo Han angrily tried to protect him. How can this be? Didn't he just finish a challenge with a demonic beast? Why is he back in the arena? He hasn't even rested. The two girls explained, "First off, don't be angry, it's like this. Anyone who enters the beast fighting arena, even if they're an audience member, cannot refuse once they are challenged. This is the rule of our Dan Yuan Guild." Su Li with a bloody nose looked at them. "Your Dan Yuan Guild sure has a lot of rules, I'm furious." Luo Han was also angry, but Su Li touched his shoulder to calm him down, saying, "Let it go. Since they're all looking forward to it, I'll put on a show for them. Don't worry, I'll be fine." Luo Han replied sorrowfully, "All right." The spotlight now shone on the two of them. She frowned at Su Li while he noticed something else. Su Li looked down at her stomach, that blue emblem. Why is she a member of Choc Munan? Are they really not going to stop? The MC announced next, "I would like to introduce the rules of the challenge. The challenge has no time limit and no rules, you just need to defeat your opponent." A knife appeared in her hand. The winner of the challenge can take any item from the opponent's person, including their life. Su Li's eyes widened in surprise. "A weapon?" The sound rang out, "Begin the challenge." Immediately she rushed at Su Li. "I admit you are the most formidable chi refining stage student I have ever met." A mysterious hooded man holding the emblem of the Choc Munan organization said, "But unfortunately you chose to become our enemy. In that case, stay in this Dan Yuan Guild forever." She is a member of Choc Munan who proactively challenged Su Li. Su Li looked at her in surprise. "Why did you bring your own weapon?" she replied. "The challenge rules in the Dan Yuan Guild. Don't say you can't bring weapons." As she finished speaking, she dashed towards Su Li, who reflexively dodged her attack. When she extended her leg, another sharp weapon appeared from underneath it. He looked at her, stunned. "There's more!" Then she lunged. She spun her leg around to slash at Su Li, but he still managed to dodge. However, this situation was very dangerous for him. Su Li was then slashed across the torso, but strangely her weapon shattered. It was blocked. As his shirt tore open, it revealed a suit of armor on Su Li. He rejoiced silently. "Thank goodness for the Keelan self-locking armor Ms. Liu gave me, or I would have fallen for that scheme. Back then Ms. Liu sent you this. This is the Keelan self-locking armor. After you put it on, ordinary blades, spears, and clubs can't even scratch you. Not even a little." But then Su Li clutched his side and said, "But this person really fights dirty. The combat suit I just changed into was pierced just like that." She retreated when the sword under her feet broke. She was shocked beyond belief and exclaimed, "How is that possible?" But she quickly dismissed it and charged forward again. Suddenly Su Li's arm appeared, always resorting to sneak attacks and schemes. "This move, you people from Choc Munan are truly despicable." Su Li grabbed her and pulled her head down, then he prepared to kick. A taste of her own medicine. She was hit by the trick and coughed up blood. Everyone in the stands stood up in shock. No way! What's happening again? Everyone run! She was sent flying far away just like that wolf from before. An announcement rang out, a one-shot kill. I've been at this beast fighting arena for over half a year and I've never seen anyone who could use a single move to kill an opponent. Sending them flying that far with one kick? Even absurdity has its limits. The other guys in the VIP section were relieved. Luckily, I bet on the challenger to lose. Otherwise, I would have lost my pants. The guy next to him smoking a cigar replied, "You already lost." The MC came over and pried her eyes open. He wondered to himself, is she unconscious? The challenger has fallen into a coma and cannot continue the challenge. Contestant Su Li is victorious. This is truly a heart-stopping moment. Let us all congratulate contestant Su Li on his victory. Lahan also jumped for joy. Su Li, you're the absolute best. The host said, according to the rules, you can take anyone's spoil of war from the challenger. The challenger's name is Toy Age 18, owner of a black level card from the Dangan Guild with an account balance of 2,000 accumulated points. He placed his hand on your shoulder. However, because the weapon the challenger carried was not previously declared, it has been disqualified on her person. There are no other items. Therefore, all of her accumulated combat points will be directly transferred into your Dangan Guild account. The MC whispered to Su Li, kid, you managed to get 2,000 accumulated points in one day. You've really hit the jackpot. Then he announced to the audience, today's matches at the Beast Fighting Arena have come to an end. Thank you for your hard work, everyone. We welcome you all to return on time tomorrow. Up above, a mysterious cloaked figure was shocked. How on earth did that kid just win like that? The assassin we arranged was at least at the peak of Foundation establishment, yet he was taken out in one hit. He glanced over in surprise, then extended his arm, revealing a JCK Munan token. He then placed it down as a beam of light shone out and a greater power was summoned. Su Li is a variable. We absolutely cannot let him live. Otherwise, he might ruin our other plans. He bowed his head. Yes, please, rest assured and leave this matter to me. I will definitely take care of him. Then the person on the other end replied, of course I've never been disappointed with your work, unlike that useless trash Ma up above. The hooded boss ordered relay a message to number 23 for me. He turned and commanded, meet at the old place tonight. The subordinate heard and replied, yes sir. Then Su Li grabbed Lahan's hand and pulled her along. We have to get out of here quickly. She was surprised. What happened? Su Li replied, that challenger from before was one of JCK Munan's people. Lahan was shocked. What JCK Munan? Why are they appearing here? Upon hearing that people from JCK Munan had arrived, Su Li quickly brought Lahan back upstairs. Do you still remember? The principal once said that Choc Munan's true objective might be to destroy Infinity City, didn't he? I keep getting the feeling that there's an even bigger conspiracy behind them. Plus, that challenger from earlier didn't seem like she was just trying to farm points or was some beast player. Her goal seemed to be we need to be careful at all times. At that moment, Lahan followed closely as the elevator displayed a negative floor number. Lahan tightly gripped his hand and said, each floor of this Dangan Guild is designed as a zone with a unique function. So cool, Talai said. Our rooms are over here. Talai opened the door and said goodbye to her. I'm right next door. If anything happens tonight, just give me a call. Lahan also waved back and replied, okay, today you fought beasts and dealt with a challenger. You must be exhausted. Hurry back to your room and get some rest. Lahan let out a long sigh. Standing in front of her room, she shyly fidgeted and said, you were really handsome today. Good night. Upon hearing this, Talai immediately blushed and unconsciously broke the door latch. After everything was settled, he deadbolted the door. Once inside, Talai immediately made a phone call. I have to quickly report encountering a member of Choc Munan to the principal, who knows of their appearance. Here is part of some new scheme. The scene shifts to Wu Defa's office at Kaiyuan High School. The phone rang. He was in the middle of work and muttered, who could be calling this late? On the other end of the line was Tu Lai. Principal, I'm at the Dangan Guild and I ran into an assassin from the Choc Munan organization. He was shocked. What? How are you and Lahan's? Are you two injured? Talai then recounted the entire incident from beginning to end for him. Yes, I even fought with her. But don't worry, sir, we're fine. We're both completely safe, he replied. All right, I understand. I will investigate this matter thoroughly. You two at the Dangan Guild must prioritize your safety. Stay in contact with me at all times. That night, after hanging up on Talai, the principal sat thinking all night. A member of Choc Munan Why would they show up at the Dangan Guild? What in the world is the Law Enforcement Bureau doing? After a moment of thought, he decided to pick up his phone and call the Law Enforcement Bureau. Right now in the Bureau's public service hall, a drunk man was stumbling towards the reception desk. The staff member came out and said, "Sir, drinking and carrying a sword is against the law." He just kept mumbling, "What the hell do you know? I'm drinking away my loneliness." Just then a phone rang. "Hello, is this the Law Enforcement Bureau?" Principal Wu was calling them. "I'd like to ask about the investigation into the organization that infiltrated Kaiyuan High School a while back. How's it going?" On the other end of the line, she was painting her nails as she spoke. "I'm terribly sorry, but we haven't received any news about Choc Munan joining a high school." Kaiyuan, hearing this news, he was stunned. "Nothing. A few days ago, your people from the Law Enforcement Bureau even took away the body of a Choc Munan member." Hearing this bombshell, the woman on the other end of the line smeared her nail polish. She trembled, looking at her smudged nail, and frowned in annoyance. She then took her frustration out on him. "Hello, sir. You need to calm down a little. I can tell you clearly that the Law Enforcement Bureau has not received any news about the Choc Munan organization recently, nor have we taken in any bodies of Choc Munan organization members." Then she hung up. The principal was baffled. How can this be? That day, people from the Law Enforcement Bureau definitely took the organization member's body away. Remembering that moment, the principal was bewildered. That day, people from the Law Enforcement Bureau clearly took the organization member's body away. Recalling that moment, the principal was flustered. What in the world is going on here? Right now in Dangan City, first there's the guild base, then the martial arts hall, and next up is a warning sign: unauthorized personnel, keep out. A pair of blazing red eyes advances toward it. The two figures are wearing cloaks that completely conceal them, revealing only their red eyes. "You've kept me waiting." He takes off his glasses. On his chest, he wears the badge of someone from the Law Enforcement Bureau. He presents two chests. "I have brought the items for you." The chest slowly opens, revealing the corpses of Captain O Ma and the one called Yan Gui. By now, the bodies are completely withered. The first one is the early stage Golden Core Liang Yen Gua He. Says also, "There is another task I need you to complete. The other body is the peak stage Golden Core O Ma." He reaches out to touch O Ma's body and says, "It's true, high-quality test subjects are hard to come by. Speak, why did you summon me here this time?" The man replies, "I want you to help me kill someone." Hearing this, he becomes curious. Who could be so formidable as to make Elder Hua personally intervene? The man says, "Although he is only at the Qi refining stage, the Golden Core Master before you was killed by him. You absolutely must not underestimate him." The figure flashes a cunning smile. Qi refining stage. A little interesting. Perhaps he is the perfect test subject I've been searching for all this time. This man is Elder Hua of Law Enforcement Squad 9 from the Law Enforcement Bureau. I don't care what methods you use, you absolutely cannot let this Qi refining brat leave the city alive. Dangan.